to the Gamegasm podcast. We put the O in radio. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. My name's Jeremy.
What if I stuck my spoon in your mouth? This is O'Brien.
Same artist.
What's up? It's Andrew.
And welcome to the Gamegasm podcast.
We're back.
How's it hanging?
Yeah.
Short trip
True
to the left.
Yeah.
Not. It's never to the right. Maybe.
Well, I actually read.
Patting my dick.
Like 75% of men hang to the left.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Any reason why, or just?
I have no idea. I never it's just something I saw. I think it was probably when Masters and Johnson did all their research in the 50s on
Masters and Johnson.
Yeah, it's actually the name. The people who did it.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Masters of Johnson. Maybe?
That may be, but they did a big sex study, all frequency and what people liked and duration, all kinds of weird stuff. That's one of the ones they found
I
out.
wonder if it has anything to do with being most of the people, probably 75% of the population is right-handed.
I mean, you'd think so, just because if you're right hand dominant, maybe you're more developed. Because you kick harder with your right leg if you're right-handed.
Just
so maybe it's something like
some
that.
Sort of correlation. You lean to
Yeah.
the left if you're, I don't know, use the right hand. Maybe you tug it too hard. In one direction and
think about it. You really. That formation doesn't make any sense.
No, maybe you tug into the right too hard, makes it lean. I don't know.
Any of the 25%er, they switch off or are lefties or something.
It could be switch hitters.
Remember, kids, if you're masturbating, switch hands so you don't have a leaning penis.
It's going to lean either way because your underwear has to accommodate that
yeah.
eventually. Yeah.
Anyway, onto the mailbag, maybe.
Like we always do.
Always
It's a good show.
Penis.
Let's talk about wieners.
Yep.
Penis. We're just gonna change this to the penis cast.
At least the opening salvo is just always about
Yeah, it
cocks
was
and
on our
balls.
original set list for a concert. It was the introduction. I think now it may just be penises.
Why not?
That's about what most of our conversations about anyway. So
Even off air.
I know that's what I'm saying.
We just discuss them a lot.
I like dicks.
Who doesn't?
I love them.
Gotta have them.
Oh, we hate on everyone. Okay. Good 3 questions here.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with Wyatt.
Wyatt?
Yes. From Granger, Iowa. No, not. His last name, I don't know if he wants to reveal it or not. It is not Earp.
Okay.
Well,
it is actually
We've narrowed that down.
not Earp at all.
Okay.
Buddy's from Granger, Iowa.
Yeah.
So, hey, he gave me city and state. He's
Granger's on the map.
First thing I thought of was Danny Granger.
Yeah.
He's not even relevant anymore.
No.
Is he on the bench for some
He's
team?
barely playing. I don't know. He fell off the map, didn't he?
the 76. I think I traded in the 76ers.
I think you're right. I mean,
It was a throw in
how
on a trade.
important he
Here,
is.
please take him.
I hope you like basketball, Wyatt, because we're just devolving this. The first part of this question, I'm trying not to laugh just because it's kind of what? Did we play a PlayStation 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, say it's a bad question.
But
The pause should say what I'm trying to say. Just because it's kind of in gaming, even if you're not a console or whatever guy, you played a PlayStation 2.
biggest system of all
Yeah.
time.
I could trip and fall into 3 PlayStations.
You
And
did trip and fall with my PlayStation.
Exactly.
like PlayStation 2 was one of the not my first biggest console by any means, but that was the first console that everyone had.
Right.
A lot of people had Nintendos and that was kind of a big deal. But
You want to say everybody had a Nintendo, but this was the first that was just a
Well,
household system.
sales-wise, there's not a big difference between the two. Just the difference is, Nintendo at least had Sega to compete.
Right.
PlayStation 1 did awesome, and PlayStation 2 pretty much capitalized on that, and they had the largest market share of anything outside of handholds and Nintendo. I mean, they just dominated. So he wanted to make sure we played it, which it's a fair question. I understand why he's doing it, just to make sure we had.
Yeah.
Maybe in Iowa they just got a PlayStation 2. I don't know.
Along with running water.
Hi, I'm in Delaware.
Yeah, exactly. What was our favorite game? Fave game on PlayStation 2. And this is where it comes toughest because we play so many fucking games on that.
Holy shit.
Probably for me, it's a toss-up between two games. Either Devil May Cry or Star Ocean.
Wow.
2 great choices. It's going to sound weird, but honestly, probably just partly because it was the last one to really come out, was Romance 11. That was, in my opinion, possibly...
Is it the one we played a lot of, 11 or 12? Was that?
They didn't make it. 12 didn't come out.
Okay, so then that was it. What was it?
It wasn't 11.
I would
We
played
played
10.
10.
Okay.
We played 10.
It was
11, I didn't really play with anybody. I played a little bit with you, but...
Just a very little bit.
I played a lot by myself, and it was... I don't think it's my favorite, but it was one of the best romances, and it was just using as a game, because there's so many good games. I'm going to go with that one just because it's one of my favorite series.
My God, this sounds really weird, But PlayStation 2 was like the first system that like the Guitar Hero games came out on.
Yeah, I did.
And I played a
shitload
ton of Guitar Hero. And I don't know if I'm going to say it was my favorite, but like I have probably the most memories playing those rock games, like Guitar Hero.
You were really good at
Guitar Hero 2,
general, yeah.
Specifically.
Still prefer Rock Band, personally.
Yeah, well, no, for guitar, I greatly prefer Guitar Hero. But for all the other peripherals, I prefer Rock Band.
I always found the music selection to be better in Rock Band.
I know you can use the real music.
And you can, and then I felt like there was more rock and metal included. Without going to DLC and paying.
Yeah.
There was like more initial stuff, and like they had maybe more like rock classics in Guitar Hero, but I felt like they had bigger hits. Like they had Smashing Pumpkins or Nirvana or
that, and if you started
different
doing
genres.
Rock Band, the crowd would like cheer and start chanting and stuff like that.
More customization on your band. Cool angle, by the way, I thought.
I will say one of the reasons I actually avoided those games because I knew, like, my personality. I knew that, like, if I started playing, like, Guitar Hero, I just wouldn't put it down. So I made myself not play it.
I was in the top 1,000 in the world at one point.
Woo! Apparently one of the number one guys in the world lives in Evansville.
He's top 3. I can't remember his name now.
A Priest MLH.
I don't know why. Why the fuck do you remember that?
Because the reason I do remember that is because he apparently worked at GameStop after I did at one of the GameStops.
I knew he worked at GameStop,
and people like knew him. So I don't know why I remember that. Just kind of stuck.
He went to a tournament and actually won like a decent amount of money.
Did he like 100% Dragon Force, something like that?
I don't know if he did that.
I honestly, I think there's like a video was like 98, 99% Dragon Force expert shit.
That's crazy.
Plus
yeah, he was really good. I was like, yeah, I'm probably the best in Evansville. And then I was like, fuck.
Priest
Those guys are
He's
amazing.
like the third best guy in the world, score-wise. Anyway.
So, good question, Wyatt. Enjoy
I will
Iowa.
say Star Ocean, really underrated RPG. A lot of people don't know about it, probably. I bet it still holds up a little bit today. I mean, it's like action.
I think the ones on PlayStation hold up now.
A lot of PS2 games still hold up, actually. I mean, you'd be surprised how good some of those games still look and play.
Well, it depends on what you like. For us specifically, I think holding up is easier. Like to me, the game is good. I could give a fuck less what it looks like.
Right.
So, but I think PS2 graphics or that generation of graphics are graphics that maybe look not you can tolerate it more because it's not terrible graphics.
Well, if you go back into it, and a lot of people listening, PlayStation 2 might have been one of their first gaming systems.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a lot of nostalgia factor too. So
Sure. Okay. Next we got Ruben. I don't know where he's from,
Ruben
but
Studdard?
No, his last name.
I'm just going to try to connect the dots.
His last name has
Ruben
umlauts, so I'm just going to assume he's Scandinavian. He could be fucking German, and umlaut, that's more of a German term. Doesn't fucking matter. He's an RPG nerd.
Yeah.
One of my very first games he actually asked about, I was going to possibly bring one time as my retro would be Dragon Warrior. He's asking not necessarily about the Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest series, but his question is, Dragon Quest VIII sold 2.8 million copies in Japan in 1 week. Which
pretty impressive.
We've talked about this before because I actually watched some of the anime. I read some of the manga, especially back in high school in like the early 2000s. I just really into Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior, anyways. And
you've always been into the Japanese culture more than anybody that I've known, though.
Yeah, without being like,
without being the weird.
That's the thing. Usually, I hate those. Not to say hate, but like, I hate anything that's white people do. I want to be Japanese, and no, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
As more for a historical and cultural perspective, but I know I'm kind of a.
Well, you took Japanese
I'm not
school,
closeted Japanese nerd, but I am probably because it's kind of like just the fanboys out there.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I did take it in high school. I took it in college for all that good that it did me. I should have took Spanish. That'd have been a way
more for Toyota or something.
Yeah, exactly. I should have been took Spanish. It'd been more helpful. Anyways. So the point is that is a cultural phenomenon. Like, dude, that's like a Madden or Call of Duty release there.
Right.
Like
I know
toys,
that's huge.
Everything. It's across all the media. So he wants to like, why does anybody know that? And he actually specifically said U.S. and EU. So I'm going to go and assume he's from fucking Denmark now.
Right.
And he's going to get mad. He's like, I'm Swedish. Whatever.
Germany's hat.
We don't care. You're a Viking. It's all the same.
Yeah. Well, if he's got a fucking hat with horns on it.
Not really. I respect your different culture. Because it's Scandinavia.
Yeah.
But he's like, why does that sell? So why do some games sell in some countries and not others? That's really what he wants to. What do we think?
It's word of mouth. I mean, how many people do you know that have heard of Romance of the Three Kingdoms? A lot of people heard of Dynasty Warriors. Not
That's
so
true.
many Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
That's true. See, I don't think it's word of mouth. It's a lot of it's culture. I mean, culturally, Japanese gamers like a different subset of games. Like we made one of the Devil's Advocate question I asked, a jockey sim or some other sim.
Oh yeah, is it like
that jockey sim's got like 13 series. It's almost a yearly series.
Wow.
They play the fuck out of those types of games. They're just like dating sims. Would a dating sim really work here in that way?
Probably not.
I mean, there's a different different culture. Now there's not
more grinding
but a
too,
game
as
that's
far
a-
as that kind of stuff goes.
Yeah,
too.
RPGs, sure.
Well, there's a lot of JRPGs that are very well accepted here in the U.S., but they're still not big because
It's a niche market.
People don't know about them, and the people that do, that's their favorite type of game, and they go back to JRPGs.
Yeah, and the problem with that is, and this is a person from who had like a modded Super Nintendo for a while, like all those series, like because there used to be a place on Green River Road that actually rented Japanese Super Nintendo games.
Greens.
Huh.
No, on Greens.
Really?
That's where I bought my Sega CD games from. No, it's right there where Spuds and stuff is.
Oh, okay.
For our 0 listeners who live in Evansville,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, right across the street.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
gonna be like, yeah, that was right across the street from Sir Beef. Yeah, exactly.
Sir fucking
Yeah.
beef.
Yeah, it's not gonna fucking help anybody
That
else.
place was delicious.
I haven't been there in fucking years. I know it's not there
gone.
anymore.
It's
but-
the only beef I ever know that got knighted.
Yeah.
So drink that in.
You haven't seen my beef.
Ooh.
I have. And it's not worth being knighted.
but like, I love Japanese RPGs. I really, really do.
Yeah.
I would play all of them, minus like the tentacle porn and like weird dating ones.
See, those are the ones I would play.
Exactly right. I like
Well,
a lot of
like
the
the-
games
like-
that insert those.
Like Persona, that was kind of a
Yeah.
Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
an amazing fucking game.
And that one's really popular and kind of big.
yeah.
But I would still say it's slightly Americanized. Like, there's a
They
game called,
put Dante into it.
yeah, there's just certain games that are played there. Now, EU and America, he asked them separately. I don't think there's a big
No,
difference.
they're much closer.
EU gets some things that we don't, and vice versa. I get that. But America, for lack of a better term, it's just not as big of an RPG world. Sorry. And another question about this is really companies. You're going to have to localize the game if it comes from Japan. You're going to have to translate. I mean, you could do all your base are belong to us, but you're hoping anymore that's not the case.
Right.
So it's cost and risk aversion. I mean, they're a business, and anymore, I think there were more Japanese games coming over in the 90s, early 90s, than there
Probably,
are now.
yeah.
Probably easier to do
Because-
because all you do is translate text.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you've got to redo mouth movements. You've got to redo, all animations.
And what was the cost to
even
do
that.
a game? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, the cost was, even building in inflation, nowhere near it. It was cheaper to do, less risk.
Yeah.
Now, imagine a game like a Dragon Quest to really do that correctly. You're almost building a game from the ground up. And will it sell enough to justify that cost?
And even if you translate it, just like all your base are belong to us, it's not necessarily going to translate from Japanese to English 100%. You're really rewriting a script almost with the same,
Yeah.
basic.
It was more
idea.
acceptable back then. It
Yeah.
really was. Because you have to have voice actors, and you can use the same, like, you do a working designs and have the same voice actor every damn time.
Why is it that when Japanese games or foreign games in general redo the voices in English for Americans, they always sounds really fucking bad? They never get really good, high-paid voice actors. And that might be the reason, because they don't want to repay those
A
people.
lot of them have.
I can see that. That's
back then,
interesting.
a lot of them had stables.
Yeah.
Like working designs had like the same 8 people.
Right.
So you play Lunar, you play Vey, you play this game. They're all going to sound really similar because they're all the same fucking people.
Well, I mean, it just seems voice actors for Japanese, games that have been redone in English always sound like, I'm going to fight you.
But if you were
You
a
know.
Japanese person listening to English translation, that's what you'd want.
True.
Japanese, when they're
That's
doing
true,
that,
yeah.
it's what you're doing it with Japanese ears versus
Right.
a round eyes ears.
Right.
You're doing it
That
from
is racist.
Yeah, I'm a round eye. I can't help
you
it.
need to leave my
I
house.
eat enough rice. Every now and then they start to go, but no. The thing is, that's what that's their perspective. That like overly slightly cheesy that we think is cheesy.
Yeah.
But if you listen like American companies or maybe Canadian, from Canada or EU or whatever, they do like Gears of War. Every guy is like super tough and gruff. That
Right.
would be bad in Japan.
Right.
Which I think sometimes maybe why some games don't do well in Japan that were big here, just from the story narrative and how they are expected to sound and be.
And Dragon Quest VIII, that was the one that was on 360, right? Was
I
that?
believe it was, yes.
See, I was actually working at GameStop. I was had to refresh. I remember when that came out, but I was working at GameStop whenever that came out.
I don't know if it was 8. 8 may be more recent, but it was one.
There was
a fuck
one
ton.
that came out. I want to say on 360, and I maybe
I played
think
all
of
the
a
ones on
different game.
PlayStation 2. I don't think I actually played the one on 360.
But I remember there being a lot of hype for the game. This was before. I mean, I knew about the gaming industry. Obviously, I worked at GameStop, but it's before I put a lot of thought into this kind of stuff. And I remember there being a lot of hype for this game. And I knew it obviously had its iterations, on original Nintendo and that kind of stuff. But I saw it.
Did that peak I couldn't tell if that peaked.
I didn't get it. I should have put it up to the microphone.
That'd been nice.
Just so we're clear, that is not being edited out.
Yeah. Anytime we fart, you just go with that
own
roll.
that one.
Deal with the farts on the microphone.
I'm drinking in my own brew right now.
But no, I remember like being a lot of hype for that game and us not selling a whole lot and just hearing that it sold really well overseas and just it was kind of not my first experience in that situation, but just kind of having that perspective of, oh well, this game's apparently really good, but we're not selling any of it.
Well, all those games, it goes back to that the Abraham Lincoln book review. For those of you who like this kind of book, you'll like this book.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it comes down to. A lot of those weird niche games have their niche fans or niche people, but it's not enough to branch out to be cost effective. And I agree with him because there's like Warsong. There's a game that obviously nobody here is going to know.
No.
But me and you played a shit ton.
That was amazing.
One of our favorite strategy RPGs, a really cool concept. They made, now, Warsong 2 came out in EU. Did not come out in America. So it came out in EU and Japan, didn't come out here.
Fucking Europeans.
I know. It's anger. It's just anger. The point is, there's lots of games that I wish would come out.
But they don't.
Yeah, I just don't.
They have that too, though.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, there's that guy over there that wants to play Gears of War, and he's like, damn it.
Yeah. Why you know I'm bigger Gears of War here? I'm gonna play it.
That is uncanny. How much that sounds like an actual Japanese person.
It wasn't my best. Well, I can get it.
All 2 Japanese listeners are going to be offended by that.
I hope they have a good sense of humor. Okay. Good question, Ruben. We got Sam.
Sam Bradford?
No. I'm not releasing his last name here. I mean, people want, I don't give a shit. But yeah, anyways, he's from Kettering in the UK.
Yeah.
He didn't state, but it's Northamptonshire.
Yeah.
There's my knowledge for the day. He was asking about rebooting franchises, specifically like a Tomb Raider or a Devil May Cry that does not need rebooting. So how do we feel about when they just decide to reboot a game just to reboot it? And also, do we think any games need to be rebooted?
Like what are we defining as rebooting?
Like you would like a movie, because it's big. That's what I actually specifically says. Like it's really big in movies and other things where you just say, okay, we've done this, we're just going to reboot it and start from scratch.
Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Correct, which I don't even want to fucking First off, it's Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Who needs to be fucking shot in the face.
Yes.
Secondly,
worst fucking director I've
you
ever
got
seen in my
Megan
life.
Fox and April O'Neil. Has anybody actually seen the original Turtles?
Yes.
April O'Neil's Megan Fox.
Looks nothing like her.
I mean,
April O'Neil's not a prostitute.
No.
I know you have to make her someone decently attractive, and you can't just make her.
Megan Fox is not attractive.
Yeah,
she looks like a trashy whore.
Yes.
Looks?
Yeah. Well, she's a trashy whore.
She married Brian Austin Green.
Yeah.
She can't be that famous if you married that. You could have got better.
Don't get me wrong. I'm acting like I wouldn't put my penis in something like that. That's not the case.
Yeah,
The fact of the matter is that there are way more
fitting actresses.
Like the original April O'Neil. That's what I want. She's probably like 60 now.
75.
I don't give a fuck.
It's like Betty White out
she
there.
wasn't. She was just normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying.
She's a reporter, not a stripper.
Yeah.
And it's all about the action of the whole movie and does nothing about the actual, story. I'm not talking this fucking, the Odyssey or anything. I'm just saying, it angers me. But the point is, rebooting. What do we feel?
Specifically, I mean, you say something like Tomb Raider that didn't need to be rebooted. I don't know what that means. Because, I mean, it's not like Tomb Raider was a massive series. No, I mean now.
Well, I guess first off, I guess I'll jump in on how I feel. I hate rebooting. I absolutely despise it.
Did you play the new Tomb Raider? Mm-mm. It was actually, the reboot
I'm sure it's great.
Wasn't bad. But what I'm saying is...
You need a sequel. Do not make a reboot. Do not destroy... I dislike intensely any format that retcons something.
So you're talking about completely redoing
That's what a reboot
game.
is.
Tomb Raider wasn't rebooted then.
Okay. Well, he's saying if you were going to reboot Tomb Raider. He's using a big series as an example.
Oh, okay.
Because Devil May Cry hasn't been rebooted.
Right.
He's just saying if they decide to do a reboot, which is all the rage in movies.
Right.
Is to do a reboot.
Redo the exact same story with new
It's kind of like you're doing about the Spider-Man versus the Amazing Spider-Man,
and a lot of times you do it and you actually change story. We can just change story. We're just going to do this. That old stuff is old. This is a whole new universe in the same universe. If that makes any sense. And I hate it.
I think we talked about this a little bit in one of our previous episodes.
It sounds a little familiar,
similar
but
to this.
I'm kind of with you on the don't if you're going to reboot something, don't ruin the lore you have in existence. If you want to do something in the same world and do a spin-off story, to me that's fine, but I don't think that's what you're referring to as a reboot in that situation.
Do a prequel. Do a sequel.
What about HD remakes? Not a reboot, just recreating the game with better graphics.
That's not bad. That's the same game.
That's
just making a game more accessible to somebody who's a graphics whore. That's all it is.
I guess the term reboot doesn't really fit well in video games. I don't see that happening.
Well, but here's the thing. Well, I mean, they've had...
I mean, it has happened.
And it could happen. They could say, well, it's just like movies. I don't really have, like Michael Bay, I don't have any original ideas. I'm a fucking terrible human being. What I can do, though, is take whatever movie I have...
I don't think that's how he wakes up in the morning, by the way.
I think he does. He looks in the mirror.
It's really his inner monologue.
He's like, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, he knows.
But I want everybody else to feel the misery that I have. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kill your soul.
Yeah.
You know, and now seriously, he's like, I can take a format that I don't have to do anything to a story except maybe add some cheesy,
graphics,
cliches.
Battleship and then was good, though.
And then I'll just make stuff. That and I think with
Liam
a game...
Neeson straight killed a robot boat. Sorry.
How are you going to make money in a video game? I don't need to have that much research, not that much development, writing. All I need to do is do new graphics, tweak the story, and I've got a game, put it on the fucking presses.
Yeah, it's lazy. I think if you're going to do an HD remake, why do a reboot? It doesn't make much sense in gaming.
I just think you should continue the series. Take an old series and bring it back.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't really feel any series need a reboot.
No.
Just because I hate reboots.
Yeah.
There are games I want to come back.
Sure.
Though I will say I could, going kind of along with our mantra of how we feel about gaming, I feel like, I don't think reboots are a big deal right now, but I feel like in the next 10 years, that you could see a lot of reboots start happening because of the lack of focus on, the history or the storylines that are already, prevalent in certain series or gaming in general. I'm not making that prediction, but I'm saying I wouldn't surprise me if we saw.
Well, look at movies like the last 10 years. How many movies from the 70s and 80s have been redone?
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And like some of them have been redone 4 and 5 times. It's an easy cash in.
But see, with movies though, it's a new hardware, so the graphics, the video is going to look more crisp, more clear. New actors. You don't have that. You don't have that in video games, though. You're not going to get a new actor for a model or a pixel that you created.
Exactly.
You know
Unless it has a new voice.
A new voice, okay, but I mean...
No, that's a big deal. I understand where you're coming from.
You and I can both go, I'm going to kill you,
It's a little bit different, but at the same time, some of it does change the canon, and I just dislike that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it translates as well in video games as it does in movies. Because a reboot in a movie makes sense because it's new actors, it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Skate is kind of a way to get you don't like them recasting different actors. In a way, is a way to cheat around that in a way. Yeah.
It's the point where like when an actor says I won't do a part, you should almost think, do I need to do the sequel? Which gives them too much power, and I get that. And there are times like, for example, European Vacation, the second national anthem. I love all vacation movies except for Vegas. That was a steaming pile of shit. Anthony Michael Hall said he would, but I believe the girl said she wouldn't, or one or the other, which is ridiculous because what does that girl have going on?
Right.
You know that girl? No, she's just a girl from the original Vacation.
Right.
So they got 2 different kids, and then they decide, fuck it, we'll just make that our gimmick. That was still magical.
Right.
But Hannibal compared to Silence of the Lambs, you couldn't get Jodie Foster. Yeah. Then you should have skipped that and went straight to Red Dragon where she didn't exist.
Right.
Sorry, Julianne Moore, not saying she's not a good actress or whatever. You got Anthony Hopkins back. You got everybody else back, except you did Harvey Keitel for...
It's kind of like the new Game of Thrones. It feels a little weird having different actors and stuff.
Yeah, well, it took me a while to adjust to...
the new guy.
What the fuck is this? I can't...
Kraken?
I just probably shouldn't say.
Well, I mean, he's not. He's relevant in this. I mean, like, you know who he is.
There's a different actor for an old part.
I can't think of his name is...
It's annoying that they do that. For me personally. I know there are times, like if they died, I might give that a pass. But as soon as I notice a different actor...
You take yourself out of it.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, you don't already know it's a movie? No, I know that it's a movie.
But half the reason you go to a movie is to be immersed and lose yourself in that movie. It's like reading a book. When you're reading a book or watching a movie or even playing a video game, the outside world doesn't exist. You tunnel vision so hard into that, and any small blip of something like that brings you out of that tunnel vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay.
No, so let's go.
I was waiting for the segue, but it just
that segue though.
Last I checked, we just moved on, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's more like a skateboard, not so much of a.
Yeah, because I skateboard a lot as a kid.
More like rollerblades.
I don't
know the terminology. I'm going to attempt this though. He flipped some mad ollies or some shit.
I think they're ollies. I don't know. I mean, I played
kickflip.
I played Tony Hawk. Is that count?
That's where all of our skating knowledge comes from.
I did what do they call it when they grind on the bar?
A grind?
Is it just called a grind?
You just grind.
I think so.
Oh.
Fuck,
right.
I don't know.
Nose grind.
You're asking me.
grind.
I was too busy playing sports.
Nose grind.
Despite the fact that everybody thinks we have extremely outdated version on sports. Though I can't remember who it was in the comments. I want to give this guy a hug. He just went and copy-pasted the Webster definition of sports.
Yeah?
And it pretty much just stopped the argument. Because in the Webster definition, it requires physical activity. So eat a fat dick.
Weird.
Moving my fingers is technically a physical activity, though.
Yeah.
It was a little bit broader than that.
I know. I'm being a dick.
But yeah, that was amazing. Whoever that guy was posting there, I'll give you a +1 internet to you, sir.
All the interwebs to you.
You went all the interwebs.
So we're going to talk about something that's a little interesting. So we had a tweet.
Yeah, it was a tweet.
HiTech hit up our Twitterers. He played with our Twitterers for a minute.
He hit it up, and he had a good question, and I thought about bringing it for the mailbag, but he actually mentioned, so give him some credit here again, about using it as a main topic. We're going to use it and expand it.
Yeah. It wasn't enough to make it a main topic.
No.
So we're going to stretch it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the whole thing out of it.
It is a really good question. It's something that it seems a very simple answer, but I think there's a lot that goes into it.
Sure.
There's a ton that goes into it.
So he was asking about cost of games. He was talking about just the games themselves, not a system or an add-on or DLC or anything. Just the cost of games, how it's rising. Obviously, we hate it, and that's like he's like, obviously, with the question of where it's good or bad.
Yeah, nobody wants to pay more for shit.
Obviously, I wish it was all free, but that's also fucking stupid.
Right.
You know, he was asking what we thought about the price, how it was changing the industry,
Stupid
and
rich
things of that
corporations
nature.
get rich off their games and
Yeah, and
making
this is
money
their
and
corporation
they're making
brother.
money,
games.
corporate greed, and
I just think of Team America. He's like, the corporation setting their buildings, and then they make money.
they're all corporation-y.
Yeah, Tim
They're all
Robbins.
corporation-y.
Yeah, fucking douche. He's in Bull Durham. I'll give him a little bit of a pass.
Bull
Because I fucking love Bull Durham.
And Nothing to Lose. That was a good show.
It was good.
That was a good
It's not
movie.
Bull Durham, but it's good.
It's not.
I'm not going to give a
Same
hippie.
vein.
I'm not going to give a hippie of that level a pass for Nothing to Lose. He was in other good movies.
There's a spider on your head. What's that mean? There's a spider on your motherfucking head. I don't know this lingo.
I don't know this lingo. So, anyways, we're going to, I guess, talk about the pricing of games, but also let's bring in systems, bring in DLC, just talk about how it's changed
Yeah.
and how it's affecting gaming.
Well, obviously, the change has been it's trending upward. Systems are getting more expensive, as are games. You know, back in like the Nintendo days.
The olden days.
Yeah, I mean, you used to buy a game for $35 or something.
When I was a kid, I just went to the five and dime and bought one for a quarter. Not really.
Back in my day.
You're just making shit up now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
five
and
the
dime.
fuck's a
What the
five
fuck?
and dime?
I got me some penny candy and ran
I know
a video
Wellworth's
game.
had a five and dime, but I don't really think it really applies to us.
But back then, the big difference between old school gaming and new school gaming was games were priced based on perceived quality.
Exactly.
So a good game might be $50, whereas a game that might not be a AAA title might have been $30.
Now, for the most part, every game's $60,
$50, $60.
Yeah.
Well, now they're trending towards 70.
Yeah,
and that's
oh, yeah.
really, I think, what maybe, I'm just speaking for him, but I feel like that was the precipice of the questions. Like, you look at the last generation, Wii's were normally 50, your PS4, your Xbox 360 were 60, and then, you know, now we're going to 70. And that's a shift. It's another shift, not a shift for just the Xbox and the PS. It's shifting for everybody up the market. Where does that go?
Well, the thing is that they're gonna hit a cap, and that cap is gonna be where us, the consumer, are gonna go, I'm not fucking paying $80 for a goddamn video game.
And the thing,
I won't do it.
The thing is that a lot of people don't think, and this is just kind of a side note too, that games have gone up $10 or you know, trending up $10. $10 is easy to go, okay, I'll just pay $10 more for a game. But when you think about it, that's 17%.
Yeah.
That's 17%. Games have just gone up 17%. If you tell me anything goes up 17%, I raise an eyebrow at that.
Right.
And
It's
now,
almost a fifth. Yeah, I mean, that's a healthy margin.
that's a big deal. So that's just what I wanted to put that in perspective for a lot of people. Just go, oh, it's just $10. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just $10.
$10 is $10. That's fine. But when you look at something and say, should I buy that for $50? Or should I buy that for $70? That's
Well, $20 to me is where it becomes real.
Right.
I know it sounds dumb, but like $20 is a mark I think of, and not to mention 50 is a nice round number, but above that, and I know there's a big difference in the way the market is now. Games, you buy less games now. They're a longer experience than they used to be. But the thing about game pricing, which is the reason I kind of like the question when you ask, is because for consoles, the price, yeah, it's more expensive versus some, But if you count inflation, some systems now still don't compare to systems back then.
Right.
But games are not on that same bell curve.
Right.
Games, in general, are over twice. I hate to tell you, in 20 years, cost of living and your pay, what we make, is not the same figure.
It's not trended the same way.
Where consoles, $200 and $300 was pretty common back then. It's not all the way, but in the early 90s especially, take like a Neo Geo, which I know is not...
That's a exception, yeah.
Yeah, but it was $650.
Right.
Which that's brutal.
And that today, that would be like $900.
Oh, it'd be more than that.
It'd be like right around 900, but I mean...
1000.
1000. But there are a lot of systems, your CDI, your 3DO, and we're talking about cost right now. And not so much the Neo Geo, but I think like your Philips CDI, your 3DO, they price themselves out of a market.
Sure.
Well, PS3 hurt themselves a lot when coming out of the gates too.
Exactly. There is definitely a price where people will take competition.
Exactly. Look at
you
the
could
Wii.
get a Nintendo, Super Nintendo for $200 back then when it launched. Or I can go and spend $500 on a CDI.
Right.
What do you think Mom and Dad wanted to get me? Now, granted, I was a Nintendo person, so I wanted the Super Nintendo. But if I was just looking like Neo Geo, in my opinion, had one of the coolest fucking ads. And I remember it because I think I got an EGM. I got it because I wanted and all this the stuff for
got that?
Jesus Christ, Mortal Kombat, and all really cool pictures and a really cool article on it. So I got it, and it had this ad. And you know those steel stress balls that people spin in their hand?
Yeah.
It had them there with this big shadow silhouette on them. And it had all these crazy graphics. The Neo Geo was crazy powerful and said, you've got to have a set of these to play one of these. I thought it was the coolest fucking thing ever. So if I was a Nintendo person...
So you're saying it's stressful to play it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Some steel balls, baby. Balls of steel.
Ball.
If you wanted, like if I was an independent party... Price is the same. I totally got a Neo Geo.
Yeah.
Totally.
If money wasn't an object.
If money wasn't an object.
Right.
Yep.
I was a little kid. Hey, Mom, $200. No, I'm filling this machine for $650. Yeah, you could buy 3.5. Well, 3.25 of them. Yeah. That's not the point. And by the way, no games.
Yeah.
So you got to give me a game. And a Neo Geo game on the low end, back then, $80 to $100.
Yeah.
I will say, and this would be
I wouldn't even spend that now.
I will say
fucking 20 years ago.
I almost did buy one.
Did you?
Well, when I got that TurboGrafx 16 crazy deal, that was the other thing I almost got instead. Because I'm an SNK fanboy.
The one in a way caveat that I will say, not to support the higher cost of systems now, but something in the favor of that is systems now, like the $200
sure.
Super Nintendo or even the $650 Neo Geo. Your parents were buying that for their kids.
Yes.
They were never going to touch that fucking machine.
No, it's a different world there.
Yes. So in that respect, a $600 Xbox, while a lot of fucking money, that system's going to be relevant for probably 7 years, give or take 2.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, so was the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, but your parents weren't going to play Super Nintendo with you.
Well, they might not play PS4.
I'm not trying to justify. I'm just trying to give this other. There's at least the opportunity for them to get involved with it. There are games that are even targeting your parents.
So you're saying it warrants the higher price because it's more ingrained in the culture now, and
that doesn't necessarily warrant. I'm saying that if you're going to justify it in any way, shape, or form, that would be one of the arguments that I would use. I think the prices are still a little high, but they're going to last. The systems I think are lasting a little.
But that $200 price tag really stayed around forever.
Oh, yeah.
The GameCube was $200. Yeah. The PlayStation was $200.
N64 was like $250 or something.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, they all stayed in that realm. The consoles have been pretty constant. It's the games, and
the 360 generation, that PS3 360 jump was the big one. I mean,
well, the concrete jump to 50 was a Sony thing.
No, I'm talking about the
I know that, but before that, there were a lot, like a Nintendo game too. A Nintendo game for $30, brand new, all the time.
Oh yeah.
And really, when you got to the PlayStation, when they controlled all third-party market, they decided $50 is our entry fee.
Yeah.
And every game was $50. And that's when it kind of saying, well, they're going to sell every game at $50 and they're getting it. We might as well tag along.
I remember
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I was like, I remember the first really expensive game that I bought. My mom actually batted an eye. She's like, are you sure you want to spend this money on this? Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo, $60, brand new.
Yeah.
And I remember buying it. My mom's like, you're going to pay $60 for a video game. And I was like, I don't know how old I was. I was probably 12 at that point, something 10, 12, something like that.
You could get 10 for $30 a piece, or you get 1 for $60.
And I was like, yeah, give me that game. It was worth
choice, sir.
It was worth the $60 to be fair. Actually, that game was fucking retarded.
But that is actually a good segue into exactly what I was going to say. back then, the big name games were more expensive. But if you look at the statistics on game sales, the big name games, like Call of Duties and Maddens today, make up almost half of the entire gaming sales.
Yeah.
So the reason I find the reason that these gaming companies, whoever makes the decisions is the publisher or whatever, is like, yeah, this is going to come out for $60 because that is the main price point of most of the sales in games, right? So if a game comes out for $40, what's your initial thought? It's less than. It's worse than these $60 games.
There's some truth to that, but the problem is, I think if you pull the whole thing down, I think that's what we're talking about. What's the
Who's going to do that?
Nobody. But where's the high point? Like, for example, like collector editions or different editions that keep ranging even higher price. When they first came out, they were more of a small throw-in. Like, I remember Lunar, when it was on PlayStation and redone, it had like a watch with it. One of them had like this really cool cloth map, which if you have those, hang on to them. They're really, really valuable. You did those things and weren't a great cost. But like when I got, and I know it's a game we all rip on, I've got a couple Call of Duty special editions. Not that I really use those night vision goggles all that often, but that was like it might have been 130. I don't remember. But I mean, that thing is like that. I know I'm a collector, so I'm a niche.
The collector's completely different, yeah.
Yes, but it's like the price of what, like for a long time they did like a $10 more limited edition, not the collector. It was like a 3-tier thing.
I remember like the was it not Skyrim? Was it Oblivion?
Oblivion, because I have the coin.
Yeah, it was a coin. It was like an extra $10 or $20. You got like another map, and you got some extra shit, and you got a coin. It was kind of cool.
I have a septum,
not a coin.
Sorry,
and there's one for Skyrim too, just because I'm a fucking nerd.
Well, you got the big pewter dragon or whatever.
Yeah,
but the thing is that those are options.
Yeah.
It's not a forced price.
I don't feel bad when I spend that.
Yeah, if I want that, I'll fucking buy it.
Yeah.
I spent $80 for ESO. I didn't have to. I did it because I wanted to.
Yep.
So those are optional things. When you force somebody's hand to make a $60 game or to buy a $60 game, now that is the norm. So companies aren't going to come out and say, well, we could sell this for $60. No. Let's sell it for $40. Because we'll sell.
No, I agree. I agree from a company standpoint. I get that. I guess when
Call of Duty 20 comes out, if it's normally 60 every year, and then the 21st comes out and it's $40, people are gonna be like, "What happened? Why is this cheaper?" You know what I mean? It's a normal thing now. It's never gonna come back down ever.
No. I just think it's like the precipice of why it went up.
Right.
What was the behind? And granted, I would say games are more expensive to develop now than they were previously. I don't necessarily think that's the real reason.
No, because as they're not really more expensive.
It's just inflation.
That's bullshit. It's not really more expensive because as you create and develop new technology, once that's developed, it becomes cheaper.
Yeah.
Yes.
It becomes the norm as opposed to
economy of scale.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, the things that they're doing in video games might be more expensive, but we also had the technology to make those things easier, so costs shouldn't rise that significantly to where it's going to roll down to the consumer that much. The big question I have is that why are PS4 games and Xbox One games starting to hit that $60, $70 mark when PC games are still at $50 to $60? When are PC games going to make that rise to meet that? When I can buy a PC game for $50 and you get it on PS4 for $70, what's the problem? Where's that differ there?
I imagine it will.
I imagine
as it becomes the norm, it's going to have to.
Yeah.
That's the issue, is that when does that stop?
Well,
it stops when people like us start going, I'm not fucking paying $80 for your goddamn games.
The problem is, and this is one thing it's not offense, it's just more of a causal effect.
Right.
When we were kids, like, okay, now granted, once again, I'm a collector, so kind of bridge that gap. I have hundreds of Nintendo games. Regular Nintendo, I probably have, 150.
Shit, I'm not a collector, and I've got 75.
Maybe 200. I have 100 easy Super Nintendo games. I don't know how many other systems I have. But my Xbox, I may only have 50 or 75.
Yeah, you know why?
Because they're more expensive.
They're double the price.
But they're also longer experiences.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we played a Road Rash or RC Pro-Am or whatever game.
It was acceptable to beat that game in 8 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe even less.
And I might go back and play for 20 hours, total. But at that point, it was I go back every now and then.
Just for shit.
Because I want to spell out, Capcom or something.
Well, longer experience doesn't equal higher price, though.
No, but my thing is I buy less games because I need less games.
the multiplayer experience is also added to the longevity of games, stuff like that. My point is like going to see like the Green Mile versus some shitty comedy
walking the mile, walking the Green Mile.
You see a 3-hour movie like Titanic or 4-hour movie or something like that. It's the same cost as if you're going to see a fucking hour and 20-minute comedy.
Just remember, no matter what, don't let go.
So
you keep naming movies, I'm going to keep doing quotes from them.
Length doesn't really dictate price, or it shouldn't. Just because you can get more time out of a certain game doesn't mean that you should charge more for it.
No, and I get what you're saying. I'm just saying from a consumer standpoint, you buy less games. So in the end, I used to buy 3 games, I now buy 1 game. So I'm actually spending the same amount of money, but I am buying less games.
Think about it this way.
If we were 15 right now, it'd be a different story because I would probably have... 1 game wouldn't hold me over.
Right.
Now it does because I only have so much time to play games.
Right.
So it's a little bit different for us.
It's all about perception. Perception is reality. So what I perceive as an okay, fair price is what I'm going to fucking pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that as these games come out, they know that they can get away with releasing a game for $60.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. Bethesda releases Skyrim. You know how fucking long it took to develop the world of Skyrim from that video game? I mean, it took forever.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not like they just did that overnight. But Madden did nothing, and their game is still $60.
Yeah, they're importing all the same things. Yeah,
So
right.
2 different companies. One knows, Madden, EA knows, I can sell this for $60.
Yeah.
Bethesda knows, I can't sell this for more than $60. It's the same, 2 different ways to look at it. They meet at the same point because Skyrim can say, or Bethesda
That's what's
can,
normal.
Yeah, Bethesda can look at Skyrim and say, I put way more fucking time in than Madden 12, but I can't sell it for more than 60. It'll never sell.
In a way, and this is going to sound, this analogy or the statement I'm going to make is meant to be more inflammatory. I mean, it is meant to be inflammatory, but it's kind of not a price fixing thing, but it's kind of like a nod, wink, wink. Like you're kind of, it's a catch-22.
It's almost collusion.
Like collusion, yes, and that's actually the word I was going to use.
Collusion.
But like I know all these CEOs aren't getting in rooms like, all right, guys, we're going to sell this.
Know that.
I mean,
That's a weird.
Because they're out.
I'm not going to be this big conspiracy.
If you do that, I'm
theorist
gonna
guy.
poop in your face.
Yeah, but
I mean, like you don't know they're not doing them, but I mean, you have to imagine they're not doing
you
it.
have to hope they're not.
Well, it's like AT&T or Verizon or they're not doing it, but oh my God, they changed their price. We got to do it. We got to do it. It's just a reactionary thing. You have to be on even keel. For me personally, $50 was the right price.
50
Now,
I don't
not back
care
then,
to pay 60.
not in the mid '90s when I disliked what Sony was doing. Every game came out that way.
I guarantee you, I will never pay $70 for a video game that's a standard regular edition video game.
If tomorrow all games were 70, you would, or you'd stop playing video games,
Yeah, I might.
and maybe you would.
I can't justify paying a 3/4 of $100 bill for one experience.
A bill.
A dollar bill.
And especially whenever it's a risky experience too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because no matter what, you're taking a risk buying a video game.
Sure.
And we go back to that renting argument. I still would prefer to be able to rent a game and try it before I spend the money to actually buy the goddamn
And the side
thing.
effect of the price too. Okay, let's say tomorrow the games all became $80 every game. I would still buy video games. I would only probably buy ones that I felt were home,
that
like
you knew were going to fucking
Civilization.
Yep.
I would buy it.
You'd
The show, I would buy
any
it.
game that
it would
I
have
would-
to be a Titanic level game that
Yeah.
I know I'm going to love.
You're not going to take risks.
Right.
No.
You're not going to take risks. You're not going to try those. Nobody would have ever bought that Kingdoms of Amalur game if it was $80.
Fuck
Because you have no
No.
fucking clue what you're going to get out
Yeah,
of it.
it's a brand new developing company.
That's a lot of
like,
cash.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there comes a pinnacle of the price where you're like, I'll buy up to this point. Now I'm done. You know what I mean?
Well, it kind of goes to whatever your personal definition of expensive is. Like
Sure.
to me, and it's maybe because I've been playing games or just buying just anything for so long. That $60, that right there is like my precipice of okay, $60 isn't where I'm going. Okay, this is expensive. It just kind of is. You go too much higher than that, then I start thinking, okay, this is actually expensive. Like if I'm going to buy a nice shirt, $50 or $60 isn't great, but if I'm buying a really nice, high quality shirt, $50 or $60, I don't mind paying it. You start saying $70, then I go, ooh,
Yeah.
okay. And it's kind of the same way with video games, $50 or $60. I'm like, all right, this is expensive, but it's not that bad. I start
And
hearing
that's the
the word
problem.
70.
The $10 got snuck in on us, and nobody
No one
batted
knew.
an eye.
It's just like taxes. You know, I mean, they just happened, and then taxes never went away. You know, it's like, what? Like, why do the American people, when they get used to something, and not even America, but the world, it's just a human thing. When you get used to something, all of a sudden
it becomes acceptable.
It becomes acceptable. Yeah, just because we're used to it doesn't mean that it's okay.
Yeah.
But these companies, if they raise it to 70 and people still buy them, their sales don't drop. Well, guess what's going to happen? It's just like EA. When I say I'll never buy another fucking EA game, I won't do it. Because you know what? EA will continue being a shit company until people stop buying their shit.
That's true.
You keep forking over fucking money for it. It's gonna. They think, well, our actions are acceptable. I don't fucking care what the world thinks of us. They're buying our shit.
I'd be interested to see like their tables. Because I mean, somebody's got a table behind the fact of theoretical numbers. If our games are $60, we raise them to $70. What is going to be the effect on this game?
Yeah, because they're going to lose some sales. Every company will lose.
But the amount of numbers of sales they lose will not offset the $10 extra they're making for people that actually buy it.
No, not at all. That's the problem, that people are still going to buy the price. Because at the end of the day, the one thing that kind of sucks about video games is
people aren't going to stop playing them.
Exactly.
No.
It's a ridiculously massive hobby, which is awesome.
Yeah, we love video games.
We love video games. But there's not when's the point when a kid's going to go, I'm going to go play stickball?
Now, here's the question, and this is another thing that the developers and publishers are doing to manipulate the industry, I think. Obviously, systems and games, well, systems generally, but games follow suit, have a life cycle.
Yes.
If a system is out for 6 years, at that half-life mark, at that 3-year mark, generally, after that point, system comes down in price, games also follow. So, this may be, I just may be pulling this number out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure that most systems see a humongous jump in actual sales at that half-point mark.
Oh, yeah, a lot. I mean, I know people who got like a 360 a year ago.
Yeah.
You know? Or
because
a PlayStation
they're dirt
3.
fucking cheap now.
Exactly.
Nobody wanted to fork over the $500 from when they first came out.
No, it's different now, too. You wouldn't do that like in the mid-90s and say, oh, the Nintendo's cheap now.
No, but the N64, when it was out, I know a lot of people that got an N64 later, and we're going to do the same thing with the Wii U. Get a Wii U later just because, a game finally came out that I care about.
Yeah.
I'm going to now buy it. It's cheaper to now buy. I can get a Wii U for $220, and the game's coming out that I actually care about. So I saved myself money. I waited. I didn't need it day one. And now Smash Brothers is coming out, and Mario Kart's coming out. I actually give a fuck. So I'm going to go buy that.
Yeah.
And I think that they know that they can get away with those prices. Because
you're going to have early adopters. And early adopters pay extra in whether it be a phone, a computer, a TV. Doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's fashion, doesn't matter what it is. If you're an early adopter,
you're going to pay premiums.
You're going to pay premiums.
For the sake of paying premium.
Yeah, so you can have it first.
Yeah.
You can be on the cutting edge.
And really, when it comes down to it, who gives a fuck? Who cares if you played it first? That's the one thing I don't get. Like, if it's for your job and you're a YouTuber or something, and you got to get that first episode out, I get that shit. But
I wait in line for consoles, douche.
You're a collector, though. That's still a different thing.
Yes.
Well, even for like me, I go like I have friends who'll go see movies at midnight, and I'm one of the only people.
That's different, though.
It is a little bit different, but
you're paying $12.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
same
I do
principle,
a lot of
though.
things. It's same principle, but if that was seeing a movie for $2 versus $12 at the theater versus like one of the old theaters, like the $2 theaters or something like that, that'd be the equivalent of saying a system comes out for $1,200. Or you could buy it a year or two later for $200.
Well, in that situation,
You're still paying the same price. I mean, I just did it more because I wanted to play it, not because I wanted to say I played it first.
Right, yeah. You just couldn't wait.
Yeah, I wanted a 360.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Wii. The PlayStation, I waited.
Yeah.
And usually the price drop wasn't like, between that, big enough for me to go, I'm going to
wait.
It
might be $100. I'm not going to wait that long for that.
Yeah, exactly. It depends. I mean, it might be $100 and a couple games and an extra control. I mean, they
well,
always throw shit in to sweeten the pot.
The PS3 is in a way a good example because when it first came out, it was $600, and there were like 7 games out, and they were all shitty except for Resistance. Resistance was like the only early game they had, and a couple games that were okay. But you waited. People who they asked me should I get a PS3 or an Xbox 360? Xbox 360 all day fucking long because they've got a lot of great titles out already. And they're gonna be cheaper.
$100.
Yeah, it's $100 difference.
And now, it's just like if games were $80. You're taking less of a risk to buy the 360 because they already have proven titles out on that.
Yep.
PS3 might be a better system, but there's no proof that they're gonna have a good game library yet. Library. Got a good game library.
Donde está biblioteca?
Anyway, so I guess like the thing is that we're the problem. Consumers are the problem.
We're the problem.
Well, consumers are the
so
problem.
meta.
Consumers are the problem with, I mean, everything. Let's be serious. I mean,
anything that we let them get away with, they'll do.
And it's the same in any industry. It's not just
Sound like communists in this room.
I know, but it's true.
Well, it is, but that's the nature of the beast. I'm not honestly. I don't begrudge any company making money.
I don't either.
I don't even begrudge GA making money. In the day, as long as you make it, people buy it.
I'm not begrudging the company.
The point is, if you really want if you don't like the price,
don't fucking buy it.
Don't fucking buy it.
Yeah, if you can't afford it, don't fucking buy it. Yeah. That game's gonna be obsolete a year from now.
And it's gonna go down. And I will say one thing, because I know we don't need to talk about this ad nauseum. Used games also used to be ridiculously cheaper.
Yeah,
you go to fucking book
$5.
I go to fucking book broker and buy a Nintendo game for dirt, like
$5,
like 1/10 the price.
Yeah,
you know, or maybe if it was a really good game or it was in all box and complete, maybe a
15,
third of the price. Yeah. So like if I paid a game for $50, I get it for say $20. Now a game at $60, I buy it used, it's $55.
Yeah,
and if it's kind of old,
you have a fucking card with it, and then you get another 10% off of it to use it. Like fuck off. Like I worked at GameStop, and I was like, that shit's stupid. Like,
yeah, the used games are terrible. And the problem is, and everybody complain like, oh, they take away the used game market, blah blah blah. It's my media, so you can go trade it in, get $8, and they sell it for $50. Awesome. I don't know why you're fighting so hard for this privilege. At the end of the day, used game market is terrible. That's one thing, and pricing makes no sense.
My dad and brother trade their games in, and I'm like, you are fucking kidding me. Put that shit on Craigslist or eBay. You'll get triple the price you'll get out of it on fucking.
Oh yeah, especially because by the time especially the games they're trading in, Call of Duties and that kind of stuff, they're gonna trade them in 6 months after the fact. Because like if you trade a Call of Duty in like the next week, or a new game in general, like the next week or two, like if you beat the shit out of a game or whatever, and you trade it in, you might get $30 out of it.
Maybe. Probably not a Call of Duty title.
Early on, it was like $25-$30. Like, but that was like within a week.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We'd have people get fucked over in certain situations where they had to trade it in, and you'd get a decent value out of it if that would have been 6 months down the line. But now 6 months down the line, that's an $8 game, and you're just like, oh well.
Well, I was up at my dad's house this last weekend, and they had a bunch of games, and my dad was like, we never play any of these fucking games. We need to just go trade them in. I was like, yeah, that whole $20 bill you're gonna get for 12 games, you don't get shit out of them. So why trade it in? Well, I'd rather get rid of 20 and have 2 games that we really like. Well, yeah, but you could sell those 20 separately on eBay or Craigslist and get 6 games that you really like. Like, what's the fucking point? I don't understand that trade-in market.
Now, if they get extremely old, then you're not getting money anywhere.
No, not at all. Especially if it's like Modern Warfare 2 or something. Yeah. Like fucking 4 iterations
of that game. If it's something that's a yearly or a really, a cyclical, you're not getting shit
No, you ain't getting.
I remember like people trading in Madden after the fact. Like, a year later, you get literally $1. That would be $1.
And they sell them for like 15, which that's somewhat reasonable.
Actually, like the old Maddens, they would sell for like $7 or $8. I mean, like the last year's Madden, but it was.
See, like, that's something I could see you could wait on.
Sure.
That makes total sense to me.
Same game.
But a lot of the reason they sold them for $7 or $8 is because they had 400,000 of them in stock. Like literally, we had to throw them in like the back room because we had like literally 60 copies.
Yeah. Because
people trade them in, like, all right, we don't want this anymore.
And nobody buys them.
No, nobody buys them because they want the new one. Huh. Why buy an old fucking lineup?
People would pay $53 extra for a new roster.
Madden should be a subscription service. They should come out with a new Madden every 2 or 3 years and make you pay like $10 a year to update the rosters. And I would buy fucking Maddens every time they came out if it was like that.
$10 to update the rosters?
10, even 20, I'd probably do it. Don't make me pay $60 for a new game that just has the rosters upgraded. And every time that new game comes out, that 3rd or 5th year, whatever they decide, it better have some new modes. It better have some new graphics, some new moves.
You figure with that technology, it would.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
That long in time. I mean, it should be a subscription service. It should be a DLC.
Same with Call of Duty.
Well, Call of Duty does change everything.
Yeah.
Does change everything.
Perks, loadouts.
No matter what we want to say, new maps, new loadouts, new perks, new environment.
I didn't even think about that.
Story's different.
Yeah, exactly.
That was me just trying to shit on Call of Duty, not gonna lie.
Which is why I never should have won the Madden argument, but I didn't. Anyway, anything else? Did we miss anything?
No, I mean, the problem is it's a very, very broad topic. We didn't really touch on DLC stuff. For so many stuff we could touch on, we could go there another day.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
We got to lightning round.
Lightning round.
Hadouken.
Oh, yeah, girl. It's time for the lightning round.
All right, welcome to Lightning Round, the game show that we play every time. I'm gonna do a little game show host introduction.
I told you.
I've got a game show.
I will succeed from the union
every time.
Round one.
Fight.
O'Brien was our winner last time, so he's gonna start us off.
Jump.
And guess that game, you jackass.
Jackass.
something Sizzler. I don't know.
Yeah. If you need me, shooter, I'll be at the Sizzler. Yeah. I love Happy Gilmore. Okay. Art thou ready?
As you just said, I'm born ready.
Okay.
That's right, let's do it.
Okay. This game takes lots of brains to win.
Brains.
Okay.
Okay.
There are 3 rounds of danger.
3 rounds of danger. Sounds like my sex life.
I don't even know what that means. I'm a little intrigued about your sex. Actually, I'm not because it's my cousin, so I'm not intrigued.
Oh, you're intrigued.
I'm not.
3 rounds of danger?
I feel like that should be.
That should be like a giveaway almost.
Maybe it is.
I'm looking to you.
No, I got to decide.
I got an idea, but it's not a game.
Oh, well, then that's
It's
probably
a
not
mode.
it.
It's a mode. Okay. For question number 3. Dun, dun, dun,
Jeopardy.
dun, 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 dun.
Oh, nice, yeah.
To put yourself in jeopardy is to put yourself in danger.
danger.
There are 3 rounds. It does take brains.
You said brains, I instantly started thinking zombies. Just because I thought you were going to do a play on words?
But then I went I was stuck on.
No, my play on words was danger.
Yeah.
I was
But I
stuck
didn't know where the play on words
I was stuck
was.
on brain age because I was like brain, but I was like that's way too fucking obvious. I was like
That's
that's
a
way
good
too.
one.
And honestly, like none of us know enough about brain age for there to be like a really question about it. I don't think.
I
Let's see.
don't think maybe I had it for Wii. I
Yeah?
played something on Wii where you could do that. I know it wasn't brain age. It was something else. But I
What?
did something on. I can't remember the name of the game.
You did. You did what?
Like you had different like mini games to test your
Brain
like
mini
your
games?
cerebral power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was brain age.
Brain
I
Age
don't
was on
remember.
DS, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on.
I think
DS.
it was, but it was something like that.
Huh.
Anyways.
All right, ready for mine?
You.
All right, first clue. This game came out when I was in middle school. You gotta do your own math, fuckers.
Do your own math, fuckers.
Okay?
Yeah,
Good.
I mean, yeah.
That's not very specific. You realize there's a 3-year gap of games.
This is a fighting game that was made by the same company that also made NBA Jam. if I go to clue 3, it's gonna be like a fight to the death.
Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and guess.
Yeah?
Killer Instinct.
Whoa, he got it! Look at you. Clue 3 was gonna be a
Combo breaker. I knew that's where you were going. I was gonna go because I remember I was thinking about the opening screen. And
Yeah?
I was like, because it had I forget
Because
what
Midway also made
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat, and they also made like King of Fighters or some shit like that. They made like 3 or 4 fighting games.
Made in 1942 as well. That has no bearing on
No,
this.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
To be
it's
fair,
a-
there was a Super Nintendo Killer Instinct too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I don't know if you were talking about. You said it
That's
came
what I'm
out.
talking about.
Okay, I was thinking the 64 one. But that was more.
That was not when I was in middle school.
Okay, that was when I was in middle school. I,
I
guess.
said when I was in
I
middle
know,
school,
but, like,
motherfucker. Listen to the clues.
I don't pay attention. I say words.
You did get it though.
Last
did.
case of emotions.
Combo breaker.
All right, this is a series of games.
Yeah. So you're looking for a series, not a specific game.
No, there's several games in the series.
Okay.
In this series of games, you played as there were several different factions, and depending on the scenario in the game, you could play as different characters from either faction.
I'm drowning in words right now.
Do you need me to say it again?
You have 3
No.
factions.
No, I said
and-
several factions.
Several
oh,
factions.
Several factions. So I just assumed 3.
In different scenarios, you can play characters from different...
From either side, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. This series of games was responsible for several different spin-offs that actually were transcended several different genres of games that were also successful.
See, now I got guesses, but I don't know.
Now my guesses are gone.
I have guesses, but the wording
What was the wording on the
so
first clue?
wordy.
There were different factions.
Different factions. Okay. I know that means nothing because your words are always very
Cryptic.
loose.
Like my butthole. What? I mean, no?
I have ideas. I probably should sack it, but I'm just going to wait.
Sack it.
No.
I sacked it.
Sacagawea.
Yeah. If I feel confident like you did in Killer Instinct.
No.
No.
In these games, the primary conflict was between the humans and orcs.
Warcraft.
Fucking shit.
I knew it was going to be Warcraft. Fuck! I should have sacked. I mean, I still got the point. I don't know why I'm so angry.
Yeah.
But I'm angry because
I got a point.
I know because he said faction separate characters. The only thing is you don't really play characters.
Right.
Well, no, in Warcraft 3, you played. There were you actually had
yeah,
heroes.
but you wouldn't switch between factions really.
You can play different.
Yeah,
you can play the orcs or the humans.
Yeah, but you would go if you pick the humans.
I meant more that you could play both sides.
I got you. And that's the thing is I was thinking on the wording because Warcraft 1, you play humans all the way through, then you play orcs all the way through.
Yeah.
I did like the characters in 3 though. Because that added an RPG element to it, which I dug.
And that is literally where MOBAs came from.
Yeah.
Because
Dota.
that's where I went with the Dota spinoff, and then obviously World of Warcraft,
yeah,
and
without
then,
a doubt.
Hearthstone even. So.
Yeah. Which I still think 2 is my favorite.
Oh, yeah. By
2 was
far.
really good.
I put way more time in 2 than any of the other games.
I did too, but I had a friend who played 3 pretty well. We went to a LAN, and he actually was fairly competitive at it, and it was really it was the first time I saw a lot of really heavy micro. I guess because he played it a lot, and he's.
Did he have an Uber micro?
His micro was above average micro. I wouldn't classify it as Uber.
Less than Uber.
Yeah, it was less than Uber, but it was kind of crazy watching somebody play. It was in a way a competitive game for one of my first times on PC, and watching somebody command 3 different fronts of gargoyles or whatever the fuck it was, and had his hero.
My Jarman.
Yeah,
Jarman in your ambo.
Okay. Devil's Advocate time.
Gia. So I just got that point.
Yep. So you start us up.
Okay.
Could you start me up?
No.
No,
Yeah, no.
not.
We need less of that
You're
always.
not gonna start me up? Okay.
Can we edit all of that out?
I'm gonna edit that and then I'm gonna amplify the volume.
Oh, good.
Just for start me up?
Yeah.
Okay. Real simple question.
Uh-huh.
Don't know if it's the right answer. We're going to find out. Better Russian. Karnov or Zangief?
Zangief.
Better Russian. I got nothing.
Cocksucker.
My primary argument for Zangief is the fact that people have heard of him. He actually had a game in which people actually bought. There are 4 people who bought the game, Karnov, and 2 of them are in this room right now.
Didn't know it. He's like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I guess he breathed fire or whatever, and so he had some magical ability there. Did he suplex people? Did he, powerbomb? Seriously, who the fuck powerbombed people back in the day? You powerbomb people. And, and he's powerbombing also people who do breathe fire. Dalsim, he powerbombed that motherfucker. He beat the shit out of him. And then he's goddamn huge. I guess he's fucking a huge hairy Russian. He's really fucking scary. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's just, that's...
You have more to go on than I do, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
I have Karnov. Okay. Karnov is a huge, scary Russian. He could probably suplex you. Just because he doesn't do it in the game doesn't mean he couldn't do it. And he can breathe fire. I don't think you're going to see Zangief breathing fire. I got the winning argument right here because I have pants on. You're just walking around in your underwear. What, why? Nobody wants to see that shit. That's gross. And yes, Dalsim, we already had this argument. Dalsim breathes fire. Do you see the size of Dalsim? He's 1 pound. He's a pacifist. He's breathing fire.
The pacifist that breathes fire. Gotcha.
Zangief at least is the same size. I don't think you're going to powerbomb. Karnov at least the same size as Zangief. I don't think you're going to powerbomb him. That's going to be a lot of weight. I'm going to breathe fire on you while you're trying to pick me up, and you're just going to die. That's how it works.
This is so bad. We should both lose points.
Nobody knows enough information about Zangief to build an argument around, or
Karnov for that
to
matter.
build an argument around him.
But there are 2 big things. 1, he does breathe fire. That rocks.
Yeah.
2, he wears pants.
Yeah.
Ah.
I got it for the pants. He's a dick.
It's fair.
You could have gone platforming. Karnov does a lot of platforming.
He does.
He's nimble.
Yeah, his cardio is probably.
And I don't think he's a commie. I think he's a legend from before the more imperial era. So if you'd have said he wasn't a commie, you probably would have won that.
I have no proof of that.
No.
I do know he has pants and breathes fire.
This is true.
Okay, mine's going to kind of stay with the main topic. It was unintentional, by the way. I had this before we decided on main topic. I have never played a video game in my life. You two are my best friends. I'm looking to you.
So you're lying to us on all fronts.
Yeah. I'm looking to you to talk me in to what to buy. Okay?
Okay.
I've got approximately $1,000 to my name.
Holy shit.
Right?
I'm
Make it
stealing it.
random.
Not like to my name. I have $1,000 to spend on
I
gaming.
get you. I get
Right? What should I buy? Console or PC?
Console. The reason really is mostly about what you're going to get out of a PC. I just got a new PC. One that, by the way, you helped me build, which is very nice of you. And we also built one like 7-8 years ago as well. You can get a decent PC for $1,000, but the problem is you're going to need to upgrade it in a relative amount of time. And taking it from me, the last 2 years of my PC life, even though my first one ate babies for a long time, how often did I want to kill myself? How many times? When we first played Civ on my new computer, I'm like, wow, there's waves in the water. At least with a console, you're going to get 7 to 8 years of solid gameplay. On top of that, you're only going to spend half of your cash reserves. And you can get a ton of fucking games. You can get all the same online ability, everything you're getting out of PC. Fuck, if you want a keyboard mouse, just go buy the fucking attachment. All the PC is going to give you is the ability to have better graphics if you have the hardware, which you're not going to for $1,000. And more importantly, when you're in the beginning of the grand part, you're going to have okay. But within a year or two, that's gone. And then you have to sink more money, sink more money, sink more money. You're not going to have that problem with a console.
With a PC, at least you have the ability to sink more money into it, though. As a console, your hardware is always going to be the same, and you're going to end up at that end of life at some point. Your PC, you're going to be able to expand on indefinitely. So you may drop, let's say you drop $800 and want to buy a couple, really good games, or maybe you want to buy, 2 or 3 really good games, and then, a whole bunch of indie games. Maybe you catch like one of the spring sales on Steam. Get some, a lot of great deals on there. You can get a lot of different games. They really don't offer those types of deals on consoles as much anymore, especially like the Humble Bundle is one of the ones on Steam. Not to mention, yeah, you can get other peripherals for your consoles, and that's great. Your PC is going to let you do more than just game, though. Your PC is also going to let you do editing. It's going to let you do your recording. It's going to let you do a lot of different things that a console is just never going to have the ability to do. And yeah, you're going to come out of the gates a little better on the console. You drop your $500 or whatever it is. But your PC, you can drop more in because you're not going to just stop buying stuff for your console. You're not just going to stop buying stuff for your PC. At least later down the road, your PC can be relevant and play the higher-end games at a higher level for longer times.
That was much closer than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I would have liked to hear you say something about his countering his argument of buying the games and having so much money to spend on extra games. You could have easily just squashed that whole entire argument by saying you can pirate them, whatever.
True.
But you still get the point. The fact of the matter that you can continue upgrading and that you can do more with the PC, even though we weren't talking about that, but those kinds of things do work their way into gaming.
All right, mine, we're actually probably going to need a break for since I don't have 2 definitive options. But
okay,
we'll the internet has just ceased to exist.
I'm already nervous.
The internet,
the internet, got kind of sweaty.
The internet does not exist. You each have one game you can play for the rest of your lives that is not relevant to the internet. What game is it and why?
I'm going with the newest Europa Universalis game, EU4. I know that Civ is one of my favorite strategy games. I'm not going that route because I think that for all the strategy games I've ever played, EU4 is the most replayable. Also, if there's no world of internet, there's going to be no patches, there's going to be no expansions. I think that every one I've played, of all the things that Paradox have done, have been smooth and flawless from the beginning. On top of that, there's like almost 300 playable countries, and they all play extremely different. And they have different technology fields. So if you're in Africa or Native American or European, also the gameplay styles. You can play diplomacy games. You can play straightly warfare. You can go merchant or economics. There's really no way to win that's any better or worse than the other. It's an infinitely replayable game from many different ways. I think if I had to play a game forever, I could play a new game every time I start over. And there's no way to really compare to that. And I'd play a good, fulfilling game because I would have a competent opponent in the AI because it's well done. And I'd have a great experience.
So, as a caveat, before I even start my argument, no internet really kills like 90% of genres out there. So
that was kind of the reason that I
and you shoved us. Not you didn't intentionally, but you shoved us both into strategy games because every other game requires in some way internet connectivity nowadays, at least. So I went with Civilization. I'm actually really glad you didn't say Civilization. Civilization, along a lot of the same argument that you created, it's an infinitely replayable game. You know as well as I do. We've both got hundreds of hours in Civilization games. I guess I'll just pick Civ 5 because it's the newest one, right? We're going to assume that Civ 5 is... we'll just say the best. I'm just going to say that because I'm picking Civ 5. Fuck it. So you've got, 30 to 40, I don't know exactly how many civilizations you can choose from. Again, going back to what he said, you've got different ways you can win. You've got an infinite amount of replayability with different maps and different sizes of maps and different types of battles, being naval battles and air battles and nuke battles and shit like that. You can start anywhere from, in the BC to now, or you can start a technology battle. You can do all these different types of things, and you can do that over and over and over again, similar to MOBAs or the other genres of games that require the internet. That's what makes those popular, is because you can play it over and over and over again without getting tired of it, because it changes every time. The one thing I will say for Civ over EU is that my friend can come over and play Civ with me hot seat and kind of get an understanding of what's going on. If he comes over and tries to play EU with me, I don't even know if they have a hot seat. That's how little experience I have. So if EU has a hot seat, my friend comes over to try to play with me, he's not going to know what the fuck he wants to do. He's going to be like, the screen's moving. I mean, I tried to play EU. I tried to watch you play EU. I was like, what the fuck? Get me out of here. Just like, can you turn like Civ 2 on or something? So it's a little more accepting to a newer audience if I'm going to have friends come over and play with me.
Whenever I ask this question, like, whenever I was thinking about this today on my route, I was like, what can I do for the question for Devil's Advocate? And I literally was like, okay, cool. I'll just leave it very open-ended, and I'll hear, good arguments for games that, that there'll be kind of different arguments and that kind of stuff, and I'll just have to, go which is either funnier or I like better or whatever. You guys essentially presented the exact same argument. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I didn't put any more thought into it than there's a lot of games out there. They'll have to be different. You guys essentially chose 1A and 1B, and I don't know what 1A and 1B is because I'm not a strategy guy like you guys. So I'm giving the point to O'Brien more because he went first. Well, no, because like he did, he chose first. So he had the tougher argument to make in a way, and I mean I guess no one made the argument to counter your argument because obviously you went second, but I guess you said that that EU would be harder to get into and play, and I've heard that from both of you that EU is a much more in-depth game. But if it's the one game that everybody has left to play, I don't think time.
The reason I took EU over that one is the intricacy of it is going to be a bonus if I got to play it forever.
Anyway,
so now on to the game that we all know and love, the top 10 list game.
That game.
Feudgasm.
What score?
Head is 2-2-2.
Fuck. We are going to have to come up with the tiebreaker. Because this game is random. It could go either direction.
Yeah.
We may divide by 0 if we're not careful.
This is 3 weeks in a row that we may get forced to fucking...
Well, you know what? I'm kind of like waiting. Are you going to make a decision or wait till you have to be forced to make one? I'm going with option B.
Yeah.
I'll be forced to make one.
Just hopefully we just luck out all the time. But,
yeah.
So
you got the last point. So
yes,
you're going to do the first category?
Correct. The top 10 best RTS games.
Top 10 best RTS.
Where's the quarter? Oh, quarter.
We need the official quarter.
Yep.
That better be the official one, otherwise we have
is.
problems. Okay. We're going to call it in the air. Who wants to call it?
I'll let Andrew go first. Ladies first.
Tails.
Ted, sorry.
Sonic.
I respect Andrew for that, even more.
I'm going to say StarCraft 2.
StarCraft 2.
No, not even on the list.
You are correct, sir. No, I'm lying. I'm just fucking joking with you because I like you. It is 9.
Oh, okay. It's there at least.
Yeah, it's on the list. So you got a point.
We'll go Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3.
That's what I was going to go.
That is number 7.
Wow, okay. I thought it would be higher.
Me too. Command and Conquer Red Alert.
That is, if I remember correctly, that is not on there, sir.
Oh, that's like one of the best RTSs
I know.
ever.
I'm glad you said it because I was going to at some point.
My Tesla coils.
Oh God,
Tanya.
You had to put so much power out for those Tesla coils. But
Best acting in a RTS game.
Oh,
Only acting in an RTS
I am
game.
offended by that.
I agree.
I'm just trying to gauge the list.
I'm gonna go Warcraft 2.
That's got to be up there.
Warcraft 2. I think it was. I saw it. I thought, number not on the list.
His voice got higher and higher.
All right, this list is already invalid, by the way. If Warcraft 2,
Your list is invalid.
I'm gonna say it. Command and Conquer 2. No, I shouldn't have. Should have done it.
Wouldn't have been prudent.
Wouldn't have been prudent.
Halo Wars.
You know, I think it should be up there, but it's not.
This list is bogus.
That's the thing is, I'm just saying, it's not as bogus as you think.
We're either gonna feel really fucking. All right, I'm just gonna say the first, just StarCraft.
StarCraft is number 1.
Okay.
Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
I thought StarCraft 2 would be number 1.
No, I think, I don't know, maybe they just have nostalgia for that game. Maybe compared to 2.
I'm kind of, well...
In an impasse.
Warcraft 2 is not on the list. Like,
job's done. Yeah, like...
Loktar.
There's one that I want to say, but I know it's not going to be on there. I'm going to say this because it's the safer bet, which is probably not fucking on there. Warcraft.
Nope.
That's 3 strikes for me, isn't it?
That's 3 strikes, kids.
Just out of curiosity. Oh, does he have to steal?
No, he's got more points.
Thank God.
Is Spellforce on there?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you're going to have to go a while to find an RTS for, like, Warcraft. But here's the thing, and maybe you haven't played them or not, but, like, 2's Company Heroes, I never played that, but I knew everybody sucked at games balls. Supreme Commander.
Not even heard of it.
Oh, my God, seriously.
But I would have never guessed.
Rise of Nations?
No.
Age of Empires?
I've heard of Age of Empires.
Yeah. Okay, Age of Empires 2 and 3 is on here. Empire Earth? Hell, Jim played that game.
Mm-mm.
I've heard of that. I wouldn't have never.
And then Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth.
That was one of the other ones I was going to go with. That was my Halo Wars.
Huh.
I figured Halo Wars because Halo. Would somebody would put it on there?
I thought for sure. There's not even Command and Conquer game on the list.
12. Command and Conquer 3.
3?
Okay.
And then Total Annihilation. Here's the thing. I'll just preface this because I played nearly every game on the list. This is actually kind of a decent list in the sense of, like, number 11 is Total Annihilation, which is a really, like, the first 3D RTS. And, like, unless you played RTSs for, like, back in the day, you'd never even heard of that game. Usually it's like, what's new today on these lists? Like, dude, Age of Empires, I might take that over Warcraft any day. Age of Empires is
a pretty good.
Is amazing. Rise of Nation is fucking badass.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
That's awesome. So, there we go.
All right.
To Jeremy.
Yeah, I win, so I go. Top 10 best video game girls. Ready?
All right.
Call in the air. O'Brien gets the call because Andrew called last time.
Very good. Heads.
It is Tails.
Yeah, it is.
Tails
represent
is the victor. So you are up first, my friend. Top 10 video game girls.
I'll go Peach.
Peach is number 4.
Wow, that would have been my first guess too. Like off the bat, like, you're gonna go Peach. You know, I'm gonna go Samus.
Numero uno.
She's a badass.
Yeah,
that's why
she's an Amazonian.
Mario.
Yep.
Link or Zelda is fucking Peach is way more of a fucking, you know.
Yeah. I'll go Zelda.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yeah, I figured that one. She's pretty popular. So now it gets a little more dicey.
Yeah,
top video game girl.
4.
I'm gonna go Lara Croft.
Number 3.
Well, that's
knocking out the top.
I almost
4.
said something a little more random. I went, I'm gonna go with the big one.
Knocking out the top. 4.
That's a good call.
Triangle boobies.
I'll go Chic.
No.
I figured.
I had to think about what that was.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. No, I know. I just.
I was like, geez, I don't think it was that bad of a guess. You fuck yourself.
His reaction, though, was just priceless.
Sorry.
No.
That was not me trying to be a dick. That was me just trying to think
accidentally being a dick.
Okay, I'm gonna go Sonya.
No, actually.
Really?
I was expecting Sonya to be there.
All right.
14.
Yeah.
I'll go Oh, Chun-Li.
Number 10.
Okay. Ooh.
Did not expect anybody to say that one. Good call.
I mean, it's a good. Hey, it's a real bitch.
It's a real bitch.
I'll grant that.
She the real bitch. She the realest bitch.
Trying to think of a good video game girl that'd be popular. Problem is, what if you don't know the bitch's name? You can name the game. Cause some of the new games, I don't know the bitch's names.
You can narrow it down close enough.
I'm fine with that too.
Okay, just checking. That bitch from Mirror's Edge.
No.
Oh, okay.
What is her name though?
That is actually honestly that was a good guess, and I would honestly.
That's a pretty popular
the bitch
game.
from Mirror's Edge is actually I think that's
I don't
actually
know
a
her
real
name.
I do. I just can't remember it.
Sounds like a really kind of popular.
Yeah, it's kind of cool looking.
Faith?
That sounds right, actually.
Faith? Something.
Faith Hill.
Faith Hill.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Daisy. We'll go Daisy.
Number 6.
Really? I wasn't expecting Daisy.
I should have said Daisy. That's
kind of a pot shot. It's kind of like a
It's a a Hail Mary.
not really a Hail Mary, just like the pools run a little low. So
yeah, maybe the nail in the coffin because I gotta get something beside Daisy. I didn't even think about Daisy. I mean, I was thinking, but I got one. There's no way that fucking bitch is on there. No wait, she got. Tits. I got nothing.
tits are actually on
Tits
there.
are on the list.
Tits are nothing. Tifa.
Number 5.
Oh my god! I cannot believe I pulled that out of my
That was
nose.
actually one of my next guesses.
Number 5.
I'm actually a little shocked. I'm like, that's the one I thought earlier. I was gonna say, I'm like, there's no way that bitch is on there.
Final Fantasy 7.
Speaking of which,
Yeah?
I'm gonna go Aerith, whatever you want to call her.
Nope.
Really?
See,
she was kind
I
of
almost
like,
guessed her because she's the one who died. It was like
and then she's kind of like the
Spoiler!
yeah.
Oh yeah, if you haven't played Final Fantasy 7 yet,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You'll be like 5 hours into it finally. That's a little later now, but
Yeah.
She's not even in the top 40.
You know, that's really
Faith
shocking.
Connors. Mirror's Edge. I was right.
What where's she at? Like way down there?
40.
You're telling me right now. It did not say that bitch from Mirror's Edge.
No.
Well,
Does
fuck
not say
this.
that.
This
what
list is
numbers do we have
invalid.
left?
List is invalid.
Left, we have 1, 2, 3, 4,
There's only 3
5,
left.
6, and 10 are gone. So we have 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
It's getting to the thin part.
Thin.
Thin.
'Cause I was gonna,
It's like a kickstand.
honestly, even if you had not guessed Tifa, I went Aerith though.
Really?
Yeah, Aerith, whatever, because they do it differently.
Yeah.
Aerith or Aerith.
Tifa.
Just so I'm curious. What's the score? This is getting down to the fucking.
I would be 24,
Yeah.
and Andrew would be 22.
That's pretty close. So
If I get an X here, Andrew will have a chance at steal.
And real quick, what is the actual tally for the game?
If I get this point, I will have 3. You will have 3. And then me and you will play each other. And we will avert disaster. If Andrew gets this point, and then I get the next point, disaster would happen.
disaster.
Okay.
So now you kind of know. Now we've got everybody up in the situations
I'm
here.
nervous.
Well, there's still some nerves. He could get that steal. Unless these are really difficult ones.
I don't.
Are we still accepting that bitch from that game?
If you can make me know exactly
That
what you're talking.
the bitch from Beyond Good and Evil.
No.
Oh,
'Cause
that's a really popular. It didn't sell well, but it was a really popular game. All the critics gave it awesome ratings. I don't know how cool it was, but whatever.
Dat bitch from Beyond Good and Evil.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I've got one of two, and I'm going to be mad because I think one of these is going to be on there.
Uh-oh.
And if we're going with that bitch from the game, I don't know if she actually, because I didn't play a lot of this game.
I kind of just for dramatic effect. Let's hear both, and then you tell me the one you're going with, just so we know.
Okay, my two guesses are either Cammy from Street Fighter
Okay.
or the little girl from BioShock.
Okay.
I'm gonna go little girl from BioShock.
Neither are on the list.
Okay.
Oh, that made it really exciting. I was like, he's got to have one.
The last 3 were Yuna from Final Fantasy X.
Ooh, I wouldn't have guessed that, but hold on, from 10. Okay.
Lily de Rochefort from Tekken.
Tekken, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
told you I knew her name. I played her before in a fighting game.
And Jill Valentine from Resident Evil.
Oh, Jill Valentine, man. Okay, that makes sense.
I
That's
wouldn't
a
have gotten any of those three.
But we got 7 out of 10. That's pretty solid, I feel.
Yeah. Cammy was 13.
Whenever I said Chun-Li, it was either Chun-Li or Cammy.
Yeah.
And when Sonya went on there and he got Chun-Li, I'm like, okay, so fighting games are getting pooped on.
Right.
Because there's so many bitches there. Because I would have said Nina maybe. Like Nina from Mortal Kombat or...
Right.
There's other ones that I could see beyond there, but I don't know.
So what's the tally now?
I'm 3, you're 3.
Andrew hasn't done his list yet, so the winner of his list wins, huh?
Correct.
Yeah.
Battle time.
There shall be no tie.
I do want to point out that the iPad we're using is at 2%. It's hanging in there,
Oh, well then.
but we're going to have to make this happen.
All right, my list. Top 10 zombie games.
Oh.
Oh my.
The 10 best zombie games.
10 best,
zombie games.
All right, you got that quota? You got that quota?
Yes.
Flip that quota? It's heads.
It is heads.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like,
Here's a quarter.
All right. Now, 25 cents richer.
What?
That's my quarter, I guess. All right. I'm going to put the feeler out there to see how this list is.
Okay.
I'm going to go Left 4 Dead.
Now, this is a qualifier for every game on this list. What Left 4 Dead?
Left 4 Dead.
It is not on here.
Motherfucker!
and to be a good sport, I will obviously not take...
You probably should, because if you don't, I'm going to say it next.
I know, I want to because it could be really high because it's a really good game. But to be nice, I will go with Resident Evil 1.
Resident Evil 1 is not on the list.
So we're both even on that. That's fucking retarded. Are you
Okay.
serious?
Just because you made me qualify it, I'm not assuming that it's there, but I'm going to... One of the Left 4 Dead games has to be there. I'm going to say 2 then.
Number 1.
See, I knew it was going to be number
Never
1.
in a million years is that game better than the first one.
No, and the thing is, I'm thinking in my head, that game's going to be high up there. I'm like, I'm not going to do it because that's gamey. Fuck.
That's shitty.
But and I had to qualify it because it's relevant for this list.
Yeah.
Now which Resident Evil's it's number 2? That's the question.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be that. To be honest with you,
Has to be.
I'm going to go with Dead Rising.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Holy shit.
And this list isn't as bad as you think. There's a couple of games I'm kind of like, but
And Resident Evil should have been number 1. It is the zombie
The
game.
first Resident Evil, yeah.
It started the survival horror genre.
I'm going to say Resident Evil 5.
Resident Evil 5 is on here. Number 9.
Wow. Okay, so there's a Resident Evil game. There has to be another one.
Well, I would guess.
I think.
Well, what do they qualify as zombie now? You know? I mean...
You almost have to go back to Dead Rising, Resident Evil. I mean, what else?
There's not that many other ones else. But I'll test the... I mean, I've already got 2 strikes I'm going to lose anyways. I'm going to go with Dead Space.
Not Dead Space.
Those are aliens.
Yeah, but...
Alien zombies, I guess.
What the fuck does it matter at this point?
Is Zombies Ate My Neighbors on there?
No. Here's the list. Because did you win officially?
Yeah.
Yes.
Left 4 Dead 2, number 1. Dead Island, number 2.
Wow, I did not
Dead
even
Island's a good
think
one.
of Dead Island.
Yeah.
Now this is where there's a couple that are kind of iffy. Call of Duty World at War.
Oh, for zombie mode?
That's terrible.
Then you have Walking Dead.
You know, I almost said that, but it's so fucking...
It was a cult classic thing. I would have never said it.
Dead
No.
Rising 2.
There's your Dead Rising.
Resident Evil 4.
4.
The Last of Us.
Oh, wow, I didn't think of The Last
Yeah,
of Us.
that's a good one. I'll grant with that one.
Now 8 and 10.
I was just talking about that game today at work.
8 and 10. This is the problem with the list.
Call of Duty.
Black Ops and Black Ops 2.
Fuck off.
There's
But then-
3
and then-
Call of
and then-
Duty games
and
on
then-
that list.
and
That's
then-
bad.
And then Resident Evil 5. Besides the Call of Duty games, the list was not that bad.
You're right.
No.
And honestly, if you put one Call of Duty game on there for the invention
The
of the zombie mode,
yeah,
I'm
whatever.
fine with that. But
I'm
the
not.
three-
It's not a zombie game
It's
in
not
any
a
way, shape, or
zombie
form.
game. Yeah.
It's
a
that's
game
I'd be
terrible.
terrible.
fine
Zombie
with
mode.
it considering the realm of these lists. I guess
Yes.
is the qualifier I'm using. So
Wow.
anyway, don't need the iPad anymore. It's
No,
dead.
it's dead. It is now a paperweight.
Paperweight pad.
Yes.
However, O'Brien did
iPaperweight.
win the iPaperweight. O'Brien did win the game last time.
Yes, sir.
So he's going to bring us into the retro.
I played
Did you?
so much of this game. Actually, I'm sure we all played. Probably individually.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Wow. Well, Punch Out
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, I mean, I played Super Punch-Out, which, by the way, is a doggone game for Super
Yeah.
Nintendo, which is fucking awesome.
It was a little
Cartoony?
Cartoony, yeah.
It didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me either.
Because the first one was cartoony as fuck, too. Now, I don't really care about Mr. Dream. I mean, he's essentially a carbon copy of Mike Tyson, which, funny enough, that game's worth a lot more than the original.
Really?
It was released in limited quantities, comparatively speaking.
That was just a licensing thing.
Correct.
Tyson's
Well,
get my motherfucking name off that shit before I
they
bite your
had
ear
so
off.
much.
it
It was not Mike Tyson actually. They had it for so many years, and then after Mike Tyson got beat by Buster Douglas, they decided not to renew it.
Really?
Wow.
Yep, that's why they dropped him.
Wow.
Wasn't like anything else. It was before the whole rape-tastic action. It was just.
Wow.
And I think I think most people probably thought, oh yeah, he's a rapist now, so they're going to drop him. It was before that. It was just he just got his shit packed. We don't really need to pay him money. We'll put Mr. Dream out there.
Wow.
Huh.
That's kind of shitty, actually.
And having played both, there's just not as much thrill to beating
Mr. Dream.
Mr. Dream.
No.
I will
He's
say
some cracker.
And I know you guys are gonna go some of the the more basic stuff about the game, and I think you guys probably played more of it than I did. But I did play quite a bit of the game. The one thing that I kind of remember about the game, or that I mostly remember about the game, wasn't the Nintendo version of the game. It was the arcade version, because you had in the arcade you had your green wireframe guy, your little Mac. I assume that he was still named.
He's still Little Mac. Yeah. I played the arcade one. Yeah.
And it was kind of different because it was like 3D-ish. I mean, like you had like 3D kind of textures with the wireframe person, and you kind of got the feeling that like you were that guy. It was one of the first games that I remember in my mind as being like that at the arcade. You went to the arcade to have an experience, and then there's this game you played on your Nintendo, and like, oh, he's kind of 3D on the arcade. I'm gonna put in my quarter, play it, and you fell a little more into the game. I thought it was really neat. One of the first games to kind of do that.
That's a good perspective on it. I mean, I guess the reason I kind of brought it up is one, it's a completely unique game, and we talked about this like episode 1 or 2. There's certain ways, 3 different levels of building a game on Nintendo with the way their boards were worked, and it was the only one to use a ROM 2. Only game on all of Nintendo that was built that way.
Really?
Architecturally.
Wow.
Only game. Nothing else like it, nothing else similar. So out of every game in video game history, it's one of the few games that can say, I'm completely unique in the way I'm built. Only game ever done that. There's something cool about that. Also, and this is something that a lot of listeners may not realize, back in the day, I couldn't go to GameFAQs to figure shit out.
No.
You know what proved your fucking gamer card, put your gamer nuts? Could you beat King Hippo?
Could you beat? Yeah.
Did you know the King Hippo secret?
Yeah.
And it really was, because you would wail the fuck out of you until you figured it out.
Yeah.
And every guy was kind of a secret, like, whether it be the fucking Tiger or Ball Bull or whoever.
Everybody had a pattern, yeah.
Piston Honda, until you
Soda Popinski.
I liked him, but it never bothered me.
He was a cocksucker.
I fucking hated Sandman.
Sandman was a bitch.
Because Ball Bull was hard anyways, kind of on his way
Yeah.
to do it, but man, Sandman was...
If you were-
second Ball Bull was gay too.
If you were good enough to beat Soda Popinski, Sandman was a cocksucker.
Yes.
Yeah. But the Tiger guy, I remember every single...
Everyone is definitive.
from
I know
Glass
Glass Joe's
Joe.
record.
Yeah.
1 in 99,
1 in
baby.
99. And
Where
then-
did he hail from?
I don't fucking know.
Paris, France.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know he was French. Well, makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway.
If it was French,
He
wouldn't
didn't
have
like
been
drop
fighting
a
at all.
rifle.
But like Don Flamenco
Mm-hmm.
coming out on with a
Spain.
rose in his
Yep.
rose in his mouth.
And you didn't know his secret thing when he came with his uppercut, piston Honda,
back
all
and forth,
that.
back and forth. Yeah. The thing about the game is it's one of those games that will literally be burned into my memory. I remember every song. I remember the sound of the crowd when you start the match.
I'm just gonna be background music.
Yeah.
I fucking love that, dude.
In their little pink jumpsuit, riding around the bike behind the fat guy.
What
fat
Doc
black
Lewis
guy.
just rides behind you, man, getting you motivated.
Like the power punches. I know it's like that's pretty normal.
But you didn't use a starter select button for actual moves very
Yeah,
often
exactly.
in games. It was a good way to integrate it. The way the hearts, the combo to work it, there was some skill involved. And the cool thing is, I think that game translate well.
Yeah.
Like, there are Flash games that have worse graphics than that I would rather not play. And that actually has, I think, real translatable ability. And people know it, maybe not have played it. It's it's an awesome game in that respect.
And then the sound of charging up a super punch and knocking somebody out with it, that whoop, whoop, woo, 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 woo.
Oh,
It was so like that. That was the sound is so good.
The sounds are so they're so unique.
and in typical Nintendo fashion, when you go in between rounds, not the third round, but the second round, or the first, you can actually use
get
your
a
A and B at the
secret-
same time
Right, to
and
pump
get power
yourself
back.
up. Yeah.
You did that in the
It's a
manual.
secret, yeah.
You had to know that shit. You
And
beat that up, you get like half your life back.
And your
you
coach
know?
just starts hitting you faster.
Yeah, you don't. It's stuff like that you don't know. And
Yeah.
Mike Tyson was fucking
Oh, he was
hard.
ridiculous.
On the hardest game ever that wasn't up there, Mike Tyson should have been up there.
Yeah.
The Punch-Out game. Because you would get it was amazing.
Yeah.
So hard to beat.
And there wasn't, and this kind of goes back to our, like I said, difficulty of games. You didn't have a continue where you could continue from the middle of the fight, just replay the
code.
You can find the cheat code to get to Mike Tyson.
Well, yeah,
but that's it.
But you had to start over, and people that you had beaten the first time. I mean, yeah, your first couple fights you'd figure it out pretty easily. You're Glass Joe and you're Don Flamenco or whatever. But if you hit the ball bull, I mean, ball bull can knock you out. I
don't care how many times you play Sandman.
Oh yeah.
Or Mr. Macho Man. They are not easy fights.
Sandman was almost as hard as Mike Tyson was. He's a fucking asshole.
Macho Man was the last guy for Tyson. He was brutal too because he was a very souped up version of Popinski.
But Sandman was just like a weird fight. Like he was just difficult. He was different.
Hard to time him.
Yeah, that's the
so
thing.
much. And all those later guys are so hard to hit with your uppercut that it was a tough fight
because they didn't say stun long enough.
And it was kind of a cool take on boxing because boxing and in real life boxing has some kind of out there characters. But this is a way for them to kind of personify a lot of the crazy people in boxing and make it kind of a fun but yet challenging game where you're not you don't feel like it's not boxing. You know what I mean? You didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think of Mario Kart as racing. I think of as Mario Kart. This is kind of its own little thing within that world. So,
and it's a Rocky story too. You're this tiny little dude.
It is kind of basically just a poached Rocky story,
beating the shit out of these massive dudes. You should have no chance against.
Oh yeah, they're fucking got 200 pounds and not to mention 3 times your size.
Yeah, they're 5 times your size.
You're from Brooklyn, New York, dude. You're Little Mac.
Yeah, your name is Little Mac. I mean, of all things,
you weigh 102 pounds.
Yeah.
What more do you need?
102 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know why I remember all this shit. On a side note,
because you played so much of that game.
I did play that much of this game. This was one of the first games. I first got my big TV, which everybody's like, "Oh, I got a flat screen." In our day and age, it wasn't like that. I got that first 27-inch TV.
It was 95 fucking pounds.
Yeah, and this was the first games I played on that TV, and I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah,
because they're so big and they're just so amazing.
Yeah,
it just blew my mind.
It was one of you don't think about it. That game is nothing but 10 boss fights.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is. One fight after another fight after another fight. And you have to learn the abilities and the patterns of each of those bosses. What a simple fucking
Shadow
game.
of the Colossus in Nintendo version.
What a simple fucking game.
I can't, I know your logic and it makes sense, but I'm just
there's a bunch of boss fights.
Yeah,
the bosses are the levels, though.
I know.
It's a game that I never played that I really needed to play. I want to go back and play it.
All those games are really artistically cool.
Yeah.
But see, you think about it, there's no middle ground. You have Mario, you got platform, boss, platform, boss.
Think of Mario, the referee.
Yes.
Mario.
Yeah.
Was Mario.
Kind of cool.
And
also,
you got TKO.
one of the rarest instances where Japan got a shittier version than us too.
Yeah? I never saw the Japan version.
Well, they did not have Mike Tyson.
Yeah?
Macho Man was your final boss.
So they had one less boss?
They had one less boss.
Racist.
On top of this, it's a big deal. In Japan, they had an FDS. Not feminine deodorant spray. It was the Famicom disk system.
Yeah.
And it was basically a floppy disk on top of your Nintendo. So when you load that bitch in, it had a save. We had to use a fucking code.
Right.
Which is kind of annoying. But the cool thing is, it had really shitty memory. So, which is weird for the floppy disk part, but it had shitty memory compared to Nintendo, so it didn't have all the good sound. All the songs were all reworked for the US version.
Oh.
So all the good music, the way it was all done, everything musically was better. We got Mike Tyson. We got a better game. That rarely happens.
Yeah.
I didn't know that till 15 years after the fact or whatever, but that's not the point. The point is, we actually got a better version and a game that only we got. Nobody else got Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. That fucking game.
Everybody should go back and play that.
If you haven't, you're definitely missing out.
And that's a game that you don't have to go, okay, I'm going to sit down an entire afternoon and play it. You can put in a half an hour into the game or an hour.
And have a blast.
And you can get an experience out of that game.
And go out there and beat King Hippo without looking online.
Yeah, you can't do it.
That's right.
It'll literally take you probably an hour to beat him.
Yeah, because you have to figure it out.
Unless it's a word of mouth. And that's how you learn back then.
Yeah.
Well,
dude,
always.
have you beat King Hippo? I can't fucking... Oh, yeah, you just got to do this.
I think we all know the Konami code. People get T-shirts with it on now, but in fucking 1988, you couldn't just... There was nobody wearing T-shirts with a Konami code.
And it wasn't the Konami code back then; it was the Contra code.
Yeah, and it was a secret handshake you had to give, and knock on the right amount of times on a door, and then they might let you know the secrets. I just did that anyways.
Yeah.
Let's dock.
Knock, knock. Hello. Oh God, he touched my penis.
Dock. Hello. Let's dock while we're there.
But yeah,
yes,
that's a fucking good game.
Great game.
I was just thinking about that the other day too. I was looking at the Wii U Smash Brothers. Lil Mac's in this one.
I knew that.
Which is a really cool call on their part.
I really hope that his moves have some of those old sounds.
And why haven't they brought that game back? Talk about a thing that needs to be a reboot. I'm not saying that. Not saying necessarily a reboot.
Didn't they on the Wii?
I don't know.
Did they have something like that on the Wii?
They may have had I don't remember. I
don't want an action, physical movement action one though.
No, I want a real good rehash. You don't have to bring back Nyson if you don't want. I would like it. Why not? Mike Tyson's not got anything going on.
Just call it Wii Punch Out.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's called Super Punch Out. That's what they did in the fucking Super Nintendo one, which was badass, by the way.
It was good.
The fucking juggling clown, that motherfucker pissed me off.
So that one I didn't play.
I'll play it. I had that. Let's hang out. You play it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Hard.
Might be harder than the first one. That's hard to say. It's harder in its own way.
There's more bosses to fight.
Right.
And so it's longer in that respect.
And it's a little faster.
And the bosses are harder progressively.
Yeah.
I don't know if the end of it's harder, because Mike Tyson was...
insanely. I literally...
He's almost Mega Man in a boss.
I literally never beat it from start to finish. I've got to Tyson, but I could never beat him in one playthrough. I had to use the code and try him over and over and over again, and then I finally beat him, and I was like, okay, I got it. I don't know that I ever started at Glass Joe and ended at Tyson and was like, cool.
I didn't have the code for quite some time.
Yeah.
So the only reason I did it. Otherwise, I would have done the same thing. Once I found the code, I would go back and play him just to fuck around. Because hitting him with an uppercut, you're not going to do it.
No. He's stunned for like a half second.
Yeah. So you pretty much have to just punch his ass down. Yeah.
That little noise he made when he blocked it.
And when he knocks your ass down.
Oh, yeah. Like one fucking punch.
Ridiculous.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
And then rape
in
bitches.
real life.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
And then he got face tattoos.
I ain't rape bitches.
He bet some ears.
He did that.
He's got a storied career.
He's storied,
If you go back and watch some of his fights, he's a bad, scary motherfucker.
All I know is in his prime, everybody can talk what they want about Muhammad Ali. I think he would take his lunch.
Tyson would have fucked everybody up. If you take every boxer in their prime, Tyson wins hands down.
Now there's gonna be some like boxing purists who disagree. There could be, I would think, some of your bigger bare knuckle guys, maybe not, just because of the nature of the beast.
Let's talk about just
maybe not Joe
boxing.
Louis. Joe Louis was a great striker.
Maybe, but God,
I feel like Ali was more of a deception game, and I just don't know that it would work.
Don't know that he could have taken a punch. Like had he been able to miss all punches, it'd be different. But like,
you ain't gonna rope a dope Tyson.
You're not gonna get Sonny Liston to go
Tyson's
down.
Just
and
gonna get frustrated, just to fucking start swinging haymakers.
Yeah.
God, he's a mean man.
I'll fuck you till you love me, faggot. He said that to a crowd member. To a crowd member.
Oh, it was the other boxer.
No, some crowd member yelled something at him, and he was like, I can't remember what he said, but he was like, I'll fuck you till you love me, faggot. I was like,
what a charmer.
That's some scary shit.
I can't imagine that guy would rape someone.
Holy shit. That was crazy.
It happened in Indiana.
I know, yeah, because he went to jail here.
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
That's
where all of our rapes and murders happen. Come to East Indy.
I'm sure you can find some in Gary.
Probably.
You can have no shortage of murder and rape in Gary.
You can find them in Gary. Don't search too hard.
I would say all our Gary listeners out there, but they don't have the internet. Let's be serious.
No, it's not. It's like an air raid siren. They just close all the windows. They turn the lights off.
I drove through Gary one time with Cameron.
Did you?
It was terrible.
Oh.
Like honestly, like just driving through Gary, not fun. They have a nice baseball stadium though.
Neither do.
All right. Good retro review.
Yeah.
I can't believe one of us have talked about Punch Out.
I know.
It's like one of the most the quintessential Nintendo.
It's the point of the segment right there.
Yeah. I think I jizzed.
We need to pause and clean that up for you.
With your mouth.
Yeah.
Do we have any games that are coming out?
Actually, yeah. There's one game out of all the random shit that we always have. We always look through. That's just shit that mobile games we don't give a fuck about.
Right.
Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Edition is coming out, though. Because all of us, especially O'Brien, well, actually all of us, there's not really one of us, I guess you're a bigger fan than us.
I would say I probably put more hours into Dynasty Warriors.
Well, Koei games in general, I guess is where I was going with it.
Yes.
We all played a lot of Dynasty Warriors, and you guys played more of Romance and that kind of stuff than I did. But I played a lot of old Dynasty Warriors. So this, it's a very simple formula. Dynasty Warriors in general.
Kill shit.
Kill a lot. A lot. You're usually one guy, and I guess usually like a formation kind of. They're fucking irrelevant, but...
Yeah, this Dynasty Warriors 8 came out in April.
Okay.
But this is the PC version, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is also the Extreme Legends edition.
Extreme Legends edition.
So it's better.
I think it launched as I don't fucking know.
So it's better.
I was just mad because I'm like, why not? Just put it on fucking PC. Stop it. Like, just please release it. Like, Dynasty Wars is like the weirdest fucking release. They're like, oh, this one's on Japan. This one's Japan only.
We discussed that earlier. Games that don't come out in other countries, that's a series and a game company that it's a niche product. There's a reason, sadly, as much as I hate it, that Romance for Kingdoms hasn't come out.
Yeah. This one's on PC. 7's not on PC.
It's like flip a coin. Where are we launching this?
6 is Japan only. 7's not. It's like, what? Just fucking tell me what you're doing.
Yep.
Just make it happen.
But all the old Dynasty Warriors, I mean, it was very formulaic, but it was still a fun game to just sit down. Yep. And there was a little bit of depth to it. I know, like finding weapons, and there was a little bit of a stat system.
It's a good time game.
Oh, it was so
without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to kill a whole bunch of
Chinese people?
Yeah, really. Wait, so that sounds really bad.
Yeah, we say that out loud.
It doesn't sound good anymore. Mm-hmm. So they don't have to be Chinese. They can be anything.
Yeah.
In that game, they're Chinese though.
People.
Yeah, that sounds better.
And you're Chinese people killing other Chinese. It's not as bad that way, right?
Yeah, no, it's never. In
Like,
society in the world today, it's only bad if you kill somebody different than you.
Yeah, if I
as
kill
long
a
as you're
white
killing
person,
your
they'll be
own
like,
people,
oh.
nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, you're just a murderer.
Well, if that's the case, I'm killing both of you because no one will find me because no one will give a shit about your white asses.
Yeah, if I kill
now we know he's going to kill us. We need to kill him.
Now I'm a murderer and a racist. Like, what?
Against the white people.
Anyway. That's it, right?
Are we done?
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
That's going to do it.
It's done because I said it's done.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So everybody who released games that Andrew didn't talk about, you put those back in your back pockets, and you release those next week when Andrew's ready to talk about them.
Yeah. I might not even be ready next week.
He will let you know.
We'll let you know when to release your games.
Yep. You guys get in touch with us at the Gamegasm podcast, and I will for your release date.
Our Twitters.
And I'll give you release dates.
Well, my Twitters.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the podcast. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure.
That's it.
Deuces.
I knew I was waiting for it.
Deuces.
Deuces.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week on the Gamegasm podcast.